Welcome everybody to our coverage of the FIDE Women's Speed Chess Championship. Super exciting event. Today is the first round of the top 16, and we have Vaishali from India and Assaubayeva from Kazakhstan facing off in 3 hours of Blitz chess. Let's take a look at the format of this event. We're going to be playing 3 time controls. 5 + 1 is the longest portion, 90 minutes. Then 3 + 1, 60 minutes. And finally, bullet chess of 1 + 1, 30 minutes of that. Regular scoring system, 1 point for a win, half a point for a draw. Whoever gets most points at the end wins the match. Let's take a look at the brackets. So we have 16 players in the Women's Speed Chess Championship. And today is the first match starting off this event. And we have really great matches coming up after that as well. Like, I'm particularly looking forward to, I believe it's the match between Hao Yifan and Carissa Yip. Carissa is going to be my teammate at the Olympiad next month. She is the current US Women's Champion, and she will be playing against the top rated female player in the world. So that's going to be super exciting. But let's talk about today's match. Alessia, by the way, didn't introduce myself. I'm Irina Crush. I'm joined by Alessia Santoramo. And yeah, so we're going to be your commentators for today on the match between the 2 young players, Bibisara Assaubayeva and Vaishali from India. Alessia, what are your thoughts on this match?
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to see this match. We have the first matchup of this event will be one between the two of the youngest women in this event. So it's super exciting because they are very new, very new to chess. They are just very young, not have so much experience like all the other players, but they for sure have huge talent. And apart from Carissa, as you mentioned, they are really the youngest. And Bibisara is the current Blitz World Champion. So are we going to see Vaishali try to defeat the current Blitz World Champion today? I think it's very, it will be very exciting, and I'm curious to see what the prediction of this match will be.
Yeah, so let's take a look. We have the, for predictions, we have the Smarter Chess Stats brought to you by chessgolds.com. And this is based on their chess.com Blitz and Bullet ratings. Very close, in fact. Looks like, but Bibisara is still a little bit of a favorite over Vaishali based on that. To give you a little background on these players. So as you said, Alessia, Bibisara, she won the Women's Blitz World Championship last year in Poland. Amazing result from her. I mean, at just 17 years old, becoming the world champion in Blitz. I mean, I guess it was maybe not quite as shocking as Abdusatorov becoming the world champion in Rapid at 16, but still just like fantastic result from her. And she was actually second in the Rapid. So she had an overall like fantastic event in Poland at the end of 2021. Vaishali is the older sister of a very well-known young Indian player, Pragnananda. I'm sure you guys see his name all around these days. I mean, he's really moving up in the rankings, playing really well online as well. And I've been watching Vaishali. She played in the Women's World Team Championship for India last year. And, I'm not so familiar with her as a Blitz player. Definitely in classical chess, I was impressed with her play. And she's a little bit higher rated at the moment than Bibisara in classical chess, but they're like very evenly matched, actually, within, I don't know, 13 points of each other. And I do think it's going to be a well-fought match. I would have to give Bibisara the advantage, like given how dominant she was in the World Blitz Championship last year.
Yeah, I think Bibisara, actually the game just started. I think Bibisara is a bit more experienced in this kind of events. She also played in I'm Not a Grandmaster Speed Chess Championship of chess.com. So she surely is used also to this format. That is very tense because you have different time control, which is already very hard to switch from a blitz to a bullet time control. And then, of course, you are playing under time pressure. So when you are behind, you have just 90 minutes to try to strike and to come back.
Yes, and actually we have the video feed, but I should let you know, guys, that we need to change the names on that because that is not Vaishali, that is Bibisara, is exactly the other way around, so you guys are not confused.
Yeah, but now it's a magic, they will switch, don't worry.
Yes, exactly. and so let's talk a little bit about this game. I mean, Bibisara playing d4 on the first move, not a surprise. This will be a match where she is expected to start with d4, and Vaishali goes for like a queen's gambit, declined kind of line. So playing very solidly. I think that, yeah, black is doing quite okay in this position. For example, now perhaps just b6 looks like a pretty obvious move to try to develop the light squared bishop. Would she really do anything else? I don't know. To me, it's like such an obvious move that I would probably start with that. What do you think, Alessia?
I think this position looks pretty fine for both players, and she just did move b6. I'm looking forward for white to castle and place a rook on the d and c file, and she just went for the rook on the d file because now, of course, the rook is looking at the queen. Of course, there is a pawn and a knight in between, but it's challenging because what I don't see is a clear great square for the black queen right now, because ideally, probably the queen would like to go on e7, but there is a knight there.
Yeah, so rook d1, she can, if she plays bishop b7, white will capture on c5, and black is in a pin, so they'll have to take with a pawn. I think she is going to have to try to get around that. She doesn't really want to get that isolated c5 pawn. So yeah, that would be a little bit, I think, annoying for black. So black needs a way out of this. So with queen c7, though, there is this issue with knight b5. She did play queen c7, right? Or
yeah, she just played, but maybe after knight b5, she can hide the queen.
Yeah, on c6, for example.
Yeah.
Go to c6, there's no further way to attack the queen. If you take on c5, I can think about what I want to take with. Even with the queen is okay. With the knight is also kind of interesting, but you got to watch out for rook d6, but then there's queen e4. Like overall, it still looks fine for black. Yes, but white has to
we can try to put this on the board. So yeah, on take, if the knight takes, you are looking at rook d6.
Yeah,
like this.
Although, yeah, there's also b4 ideas that need to be looked at as well. White has some kinds of initiative for sure in this position.
Yeah. And what are the options? The queen might also go on b8 in this position, just avoiding the, just with the idea that after pawn take, the knight can just take, and there are not way to attack the knights, and the queen is not exposed there. But of course, the queen looks very passive on b8, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, okay, so she went to b8, and, well, what do we expect white to do? Either castles or...
just to concede c5. Yes. Just to concede c5. But now knight takes c5 seems natural, followed by bishop b7. And then it sounds, I mean, still, I like white is putting some pressure. Is definitely black needs to be a bit careful. There are still ideas like knight d6, maybe knight e5 at one point. Of course, now it's not.
Yeah, knight takes c5, b4 actually looks like a bit of a problem, right? I wouldn't be so happy to see that move and sending.
Yeah, because back. If knight d7, there is knight c7 that is like staring at that rook that is completely lost. And that's would be the problem of queen b8. Yeah, your move b4 is pretty strong. Where is this knight going? Of course, the same problem. I mean, knight a6 is controlling the c7 square, but how sad is the knight on a6?
Oh, yeah. I mean, after a3, your knight will just have to stay there forever. So she's thinking, she's thinking because she sees the problem of b4 And I mean, B takes C5. Yeah, she goes for that. I'm not totally shocked. I mean, probably like not a terrible decision, but certainly now white gets what they wanted. They can play against black structure, and you know, black is still not having an easy time of even playing the simple move bishop b7.
Yeah, I agree. I think white got a small advantage after the opening, and this is what you would like to have. Now white will probably go on with castle, maybe reroute the rook to C and D file. Where do you think are the optimal what do you think are the optimal squares for the two white rooks in this position?
Yes, definitely agree with you. C and D file, kind of like the natural places to go. So she might at some where she know what she could do somewhere. She could go rook D2, right, and rook C1. Okay, actually, I kind of like what just happened for black, right? This is like, I don't know if white rushed in too much with that knight D6 move, but now they kind of helped black develop by taking that undeveloped bishop on C8. And the knight on D5 is looking pretty good. Suddenly black has normal development. Yeah, like that change was actually very positive for black. So whatever white did was not that awesome, because I'm liking the look of black's knights here.
Yeah, one of my first coaches made me notice that once you exchange two pieces, you should see how many tempos did that piece had to waste in order to go there. And the knight made knight c3, knight b5, knight d6, knight takes c8. Instead, that bishop on c8 was just staying there. So in one move, white kind of lost 3 tempos more or less. Which
I don't know if she had to give up this pawn on c4, because I mean, okay, she's obviously planning knight b6 to try to take advantage of the pin, but it's like, how easy is it for her to get the pawn back? It actually feels like still a bit of an issue to get it back, right? Like right now, if white plays c5 and just keeps kind of pushing that pawn. And by the way, you know what I just realized? Like Bibi Sara has an enormous time advantage, like enormous, right? Like she's got 2.5 minutes and her opponent has less than a minute. So this is actually a very worrying sign for Vaishali.
In Blitz, I say that 30 seconds on the clock are similar to an extra pawn. I mean, of course, the highest the level and the less true this statement is. But still, yeah, there is just 1 second of increment, and time trouble is time trouble also for a super strong player. And
yeah,
you can always blunder there.
I mean, if she plays like at that speed, if this is going to be the dynamic, I can tell you that this is not going to be a close match, because it just has to be closer in time than that, right? But okay, it's the first game, and you know, in the first game, it's like you just kind of have to get into the match, right? You got to find your flow. And you know, Bibi Sara, as we said, she is like more experienced, I think, in this online play. And I think Vaishali, even in classical chess, she had this issue of getting low on time, right? Like she would play really well, but it would take her a long time. And that might be carrying over into the Blitz here.
Yeah, but one thing I've noticed about players that are getting usually in time trouble is that then they are pretty experienced in having few time. And so they are playing also, they have a good endurance in have with few time. But of course, still few time is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, so they're kind of evening out a little bit. Like Bibi Sara is under a minute as she was thinking about how to like deal with this. Although I'm a little confused. She should just play rook d4, giving, oh, there's a trap. Let's show the trap. The pawn is not under attack because of rook d8, right? There was a very good reason why black could not take that pawn, because we got this typical tactic, winning the queen. Okay. So
yeah, of
course, black was not going to fall for that.
Yeah, now white is creating, is playing a prophylactic move h3, just using some, taking a square for the king. But look at the time, 16 seconds. Now it's really getting very, very difficult for black, because time pressure, also just a pawn down, and this pawn is untouchable.
Yeah, she is going to need to play fast. I mean, it's kind of like, okay,
I like the idea trying to bring a rook on d7. looks really strong. Yeah, rook d8, of course.
Maybe rook d6. I guess there's knight f5. I mean, there's still like a technical job here to be done. I wouldn't say it's like completely trivial to win for white. So we'll see. Okay, it's getting better though. It is getting better for white, I think.
Yeah, now the change is that the pawns are supporting each other. Well, actually, the d4 pawn is supporting the pawn on c5. But I really like the knight on d5. It's such a good piece now.
Yeah. F6, a3. Okay, interesting.
Just 2 seconds for black. Look at this. The knight is going towards d6.
Knight d6. Queen e4 might play at some point.
I love the idea of queen e4, and this is where the queen is going, attacking the pawn on e6. Knight on c7 is protecting a pawn, and now the queen. Wow, just the flag. You see, guys, this is time is super important. Let's see if now Vaishali with the white pieces will have a change in the time management. Another d4. Are we going to see always the queen pawn being pushed at move
wow,
one?
So it's a little unusual. She's going for this knight c3 stuff. I'm sure this is something she's prepared for this match, actually. Bibisara going for King's Indian, not so surprising. That is part of her main repertoire. But Vaishali answering with this kind of sideline, it is a bit of a surprise for me, but we'll see how it goes. You know, it's funny because there was such a big difference on the clock. It almost felt like that first game was like a 3-minute game, right? But like, in fact, it was like they've been playing for a while. Yeah, so, okay. Queen takes d2. I mean, white doesn't really have anything and can't be expecting, I think, a lot from an opening like this. But, you know, you play this kind of stuff just to put a position on the board and play from there.
Yeah. Mostly, this is probably, I mean, not sure if it's the authentical Jobava London, but it's a similar idea of the Jobava London with bishop on f4, with the knight going towards b5, pointing at c7. And mostly, I like that white plays very aggressively, castling long and then pushing the pawn on the king's side. But in this position with the fianchetto on the king's side, it seems harder for white to actually arrange an attack, because mostly when the fianchetto, when the bishop is here, you would like to exchange with bishop h6, but the queen and the bishop are not really connected, so it doesn't seem like white is going to have really some attacking chances on the king side.
Yeah, I mean, this was an interesting move, c5, right? Because she kind of let the knight stay there. She could have played c6 as well, I think. I feel like, let's say in this position, black has more problems to solve than white. I mean, you know, just simply because of the difference in the knights, right? White's knight is looking a lot better. You can't really play rook c8. You can't play knight c7. You can't play knight b8. So that's kind of the question. How is black going to be improving the knight? And this is also why white has a time advantage, right? You can see that her position is easier to play. So she's actually building up a lead on the clock, almost a minute. Okay, this is an interesting move. I don't know if rook c8 is really an idea, because you could still go a5 and then just take the pawn at a7. So I'm predicting just castles. I think that works here. I don't think there's any particular threats that black has, are there?
Yeah, because queen b6 is probably can an idea be c4, trying to disconnect the bishop from the knight and then threatening to take on b5?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, on c4, the first thing that we would look at is b3, I think. We can also look, I suppose, at like knight c3 and b3, but I like b3 and just giving you the pawn if you want to take it. We can take a look at that. We can put that on the board as she's thinking. If bishop takes b5, you know, a takes b5, queen takes, and like pawn c4. Yeah, we get like rook b1, beautiful, beautiful open files for the rooks, and bishop. And she's actually went for c4. All of this could happen because, and yeah, bishop.
Yes, we have this here on the board.
Yeah. So she's getting outplayed in this game by Vaishali for sure. I think Vaishali's tricky opening line has worked out. And now, I mean, she will play b3. She's got a minute extra on the clock. It's like a very easy move to see that it's a good idea.
Yeah, and now I'm curious. I mean, we have a bit of a reverse situation because Bibisara is under time pressure. She has 1 minute less on the clock, and she has a tough position. What do you think could be the best way to face to deal with this position for Black?
Yeah, I mean, probably just taking on b3, just to at least hope that the file keeps being closed. But yeah, again, there's just such a huge difference between the white knight on b5 and the black knight on a6 that it's clear that the white's going to have the advantage in any case.
Yeah.
And the black queen is kind of tied down to like the a7 pawn, also not great. I mean, and you can't really take the knight as well. I mean, maybe you can consider it at some point. You might be so desperate, you might play the move bishop takes b5, right? And hand over the 2 bishops to white just to relieve some of the pressure. And then white's gonna have an interesting decision of what to take with on b5. Actually, I think something like that might happen soon. So
yeah, and
go for this.
And she's bringing the F rook on the C file. I mean, it might look strange, but probably rook AC8 has always the same problem of the pawn on A7 after A5. The queen needs to go and the pawn is just hanging. So she had to go with the other rook. And now white in this position doesn't have a way to strike, but white is a bit better due to the better knight. So mostly white should try to improve the position.
Yeah, this is a tricky position. I mean, because yeah, white has some, advantage, but it's not so clear what to do with it, right? Because I mean, you can play rook c1. It's sort of the obvious move, rook fc1. But on the other hand, you sort of think, well, they're going to take rook takes the other rook to c8. I guess there's still somewhere there's
maybe
still
rook takes c8 idea. And then
yes,
a5.
Exactly, right? So I guess she will probably do that. She went a5 right away. Okay, that makes sense. And b4. All right. I think that makes total sense to me. She pushed back the queen. Okay. So the knight's in a little bit of trouble. How are we going to defend it? I mean, it looks like we might have to play. Oh, interesting. We also have knight c3, because if they take on b4 like rook fb1 and we can take on d5, I would say that we got a pretty nice pawn. By the way, black also has ideas just in general of e5 at some point. And that's something to look at as well. But yes, so she went knight c3. I mean, so far, I still really like the way Vaishali is handling this game.
This is the current position. So the pawn on b4 seems like that would be a good trade for white, because after rook b1, the knight needs to go, and white will be capturing the central pawn, which is better than a side pawn, of course.
So she played e6, defending this pawn, and now the question is, should we push b5? Yep, she did. Knight c7. All right, so what is going on with the clock? Okay, she still has a nice advantage. Question is, should she play something like rook fb1? That kind of makes sense, but is there a point in playing b6, or that's a little bit too early? Probably a bit too early. Yeah, I would be inclined to just protect that pawn and like hold my space advantage.
Yeah, and she's just protecting the pawn. And it's what I find very hard in this position is that is tough to find a move for black. White has many moves all the time. Just improving the rook, bringing a rook to the open file instead for black is hard. The only active idea could be just e5, basically, but the pawn on d5 then will be weak forever.
Yeah, white also has an idea of like playing knight a4 to c5. That is pretty interesting, but she might just want to play rook fc1 just to like improve the rook. I think it does make sense to bring the final piece into the game. Also possible tactics against the knight on c7 in the future. I think she needs to go for that move and then think about what she's going to do from there.
Are there any danger for white in this position?
b6. So she went a little early with this move. Not such a fan of just of that strategy, because you're opening up black's pieces, right? Yeah, not so sure. She opens up the rook on a8. Why'd she do that? You know, you generally like you don't want to help your opponent. I mean, make their pieces better, right? So like the rook on a8 was completely undeveloped, and now it's like attacking your pawn. So I'm not.
I mean, mostly you can do it just if you win material.
Exactly, right? So what do we have here? So
Maybe she thinks that after knight b4, she's actually winning a pawn. But I agree, rook c1 looked like a very good preparation to any possible tactic.
Yeah, so she went knight. Okay, rook.
Yeah, rook c1.
C1, and what does she want? I mean, she has ideas of at some point a6, right? That's the whole idea.
Yeah, also knight b4 looks good.
Yeah,
just wanting to take on b6 because this bishop cannot move. The knight behind is hanging. And so it seems like
things are looking good for
pawn.
her again. Yeah, because look at that power on the c file. I mean, so black is
and now a6.
Nice,
That's
nice
beautiful.
Move. Yep. All right. Looks like she actually will make this move b6 work.
Now the rook is unprotected, which is a bit scary. Where is the rook going? Maybe she sacrificed the exchange. And now the fork with the knight.
She just wins the rook, and then like her bishop on e2 so beautifully covering the a6 pawn. Yeah, this is completely winning. Yeah. Well, this is a good game by Vaishali overall. I don't think she has anything to complain about here, and she evens the score in the match. So, I mean, so far both players have been pretty convincing with their victories.
Yeah, I agree. White just need to bring a bishop on c6, and this is what White is doing. And then it'll be... is bishop c6 now not possible? Because maybe there is bishop take b8. And then you're losing the pawn on... So this is tricky.
Yeah, maybe just queen b6 or something. Okay,
rook c8, I like it. Yeah, now I think we will see a resignation. Yeah, it's time. It's time.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, I looked shortly at the cameras, and Vaishali didn't give us any emotion through with the face
neither
expression.
did Sarah, by the way. I mean, totally expressionless.
Yes. Well, baby Sarah just did this small like closing her eyes a little bit, but not really much. All right, they of course are focused because there is not too much time for let your emotion go. There is another game, and you need to go very quickly. So we have now all the pieces on the board. This opening was again a Queen's Gambit declined. And we have the Catalan structure with the bishop on g3 on fianchetto for White. But what kind of opening is actually this?
Yeah, like can you go back for a second? Like they went through it so quickly, and they already. So it was it was a weird Catalan. So there was an h6. Where did she play h6? What was that? Because that's unusual. So wow, she played h6, just like not allowing bishop g5. I mean, you don't see that very often. This is not, as far as I know, it's not really a move. But I guess in blitz chess you can do anything. So then they went into like a Catalan type.
Yeah, where this pawn is not really doing. I mean, was a wasted tempo more or less.
Yeah, let's see what happened next. Okay, castles, knight c6, and she played very quickly this type of idea by Vaishali. So I guess she has some of this prepared. Yeah,
and now White is having two pawns at the center. They are isolated, but as soon as they are next to each other, they are really strong, controlling all the square in front of them.
Yeah, that g4 move, of course, is a big move, right? Because you are kind of weakening your king. I'm not so sure I'm like a huge fan of that move because, well, how exactly
pawns are not going backwards, no?
Exactly. And you've opened up the bishop on d6. I don't know if she's planning to play c5 at some point and kick that bishop away. Yeah, knight e4, very reasonable by black, like trading pieces. Like, so black's advantage is that they're more solid in terms of pawn structure. They basically have a perfect pawn structure. White has more space, but also more responsibilities with that space.
Yeah, I kind of I don't find very good square for white pieces because the bishop on e3 right now is not really the most active bishop. Also, the bishop on g2 mostly is doing really well, but in coordination, you want to do it together with a knight on e5. But the knight is, there is no way that the knight is going on e5 for now.
Yeah, so I
So
mean, like, I think that we can definitely agree that the move g4 was not productive by white and just basically made a bunch of
not good.
weaknesses, opened up the dark squared bishop more. And so far, Vaishali is playing this very coolly. You know, very clear that white has like no real initiative and has to be a bit careful in this position.
Yeah, I see the difference between bishop is pretty big in this position. Black has two strong active bishop, and now that white just pushed the pawn in the center, unless white is going to push also c5, black will have a very good position because then there are all the weakness around those pawns where black can just place a knight. Now my question is, where is this knight going to go? Because if knight e5, there are lots of trades, and maybe this is
Yeah,
not
just
so
rook
bad
takes,
for.
I guess, because okay, you have to calculate bishop g2, right? So
Yeah.
bishop g2, knight f7, knight f7, and then like white is trying to get pawn extra. Seems interesting.
Yeah, because here if king take
Wait, there's some
g2.
crazy lines. Like, was there queen h4 here? Like knight f7, queen h4.
Wow,
To go
this
to
is
h3,
beautiful.
and then a knight d. Like, yeah. So if you take in rook e3, yeah, this is the idea. Yeah.
Bam, this is brilliant. That would be good. And then the queen is just giving mate, and we show the mate because it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah.
So this queen h4, incredible, just going for the attack. And
Yeah.
of course, if white takes just a bishop, you can take on h3, and then you're
She didn't
giving
go
another
for
mate on
that, but
h1.
she went for bishop e5, which oh, it looks good. Yeah, because you're attacking the rook on a1. So on bishop takes e4, there's bishop a1, just winning the exchange. So she's still going to get the trade of the bishops, and she's still going to be able to play against white's weakened king. And I'm sure in this game, there will probably be a move like f5 or h5 at some point.
Yeah, trying to go for the attack towards the king. I like more f5, mostly because I like to open up the f file as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about the way this match is going because I think, you know, like we saw that by the stats, like Bibi Sara is a bit of a favorite, right? But I like that Vaishali is like completely holding her own now, and especially she's improved on the clock as well. And like I said, you know, in terms of just outplaying her with chess moves, it's not that easy. And that's something I noticed, you know, from her games, the Women's World Team Championship, you know, she's playing all these top players. And, you know, sometimes she would lose, but like she would always get good positions against them, right? And that's something you notice, like when you're always getting good positions against like the best, you know, players in the world, like it's not an accident.
Yeah, something just incredible happened. She gave up an exchange here, and now seems like white wants to try to have compensation with the bishop pair and maybe some idea with queen f5, try to provoke g6. But yeah, black is an exchange up. Now I think this bishop will go back just to f6. Oh, 3-5. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, right? So queen f5, g6, right? So there's really like not any compensation. I mean, b6, d6, I guess even that is not some super big threat. But yeah, like on d6, you have nice choices, right? Like you could take the pawn and just be up a pawn in the end game, like with bishop takes d6, or you can consider on d6 moving the rook, but I almost feel like she's probably just going to play bishop takes d6 and just keeping it like really simple with an extra pawn.
Yeah. And in generally, when would you say that there is compensation with the bishop here? Is how many pawns are on the board can affect the evaluation, or what makes the difference there when you are in exchange down but you have the bishop here?
Well, yeah, one thing you want to look at is the opponent's rooks, right? So if the rooks have open files, then that's like a bad sign for the bishop. In this position, this is a pretty open position for the rooks, right? Like one of the rooks is already perfectly placed on the e file. And, you know, when you're down in exchange in general, you have to make the case that your minor piece is like more productive than their rooks, right? And so for that, the rooks need to be closed. And that's why white is not having exactly enough compensation here. Why not bishop g7? Is she still, okay, king g7. She wants to protect the pawn like that. All right. I suppose black wants to play queen f6 like very soon.
Yeah, of course, black has then a very clear advantage if manages to exchange the one bishop. Is it right?
Yeah. So you wonder if white's going to play like d6 somewhere. I mean, d6, it's not like a super amazing move or anything, but you know, it sort of tries to get back the exchange. I mean, it makes black at least think about like, where are they going to like try to move their rook? I mean, they might just try to play their rook to like b8, right? That might be the issue. Yeah, most likely d6, just rook b8.
Yeah, because you could just take the pawn and then have an endgame with an extra pawn, but if you can keep the rook, that's still better.
Yeah, I mean, like one example in which you don't, okay, so she played king g2. She has like very little time right now, right? Bad position, little time. So she's thinking queen f6, queen takes, bishop takes, attacking the bishop. Okay, queen f6 was fine. Rook b8 is fine too. It's like a very safe move, right? Just like preparing. Ooh, queen f6.
That's a
like,
free pawn.
Yeah.
Free stuff.
Free pawn, but there's rook h1, right? So it's a bit of a trap.
Oh no. That's dangerous. Okay, interesting.
She's gonna go for the queen trade. That makes sense. Now maybe she can think about taking the pawn. Now it looks more like a free pawn.
Because there is not anymore.
Yeah, there's also a lot of stuff going on the e file. Like she might just play, I don't know, like, I mean, the rook is lined up against the bishop. She can think about where to move the bishop, but I think it's a free pawn. I think you can just take it on h4.
Yeah, now it's an actually free pawn. And then this bishop is still, yeah, I think now queen just can go back to...
Yeah, queen h2 is also a move. She can think about the checks and the king to f1.
Yeah, but then I didn't see a follow-up there. So maybe queen f... I like the idea of queen f6.
Bishop f4, very simple. There's no bishop d4. That's
just a resignation. So for now, the tendency is clear. One player has more time in the better position and strikes with a full point. Let's see if Bibi Sara now with the black pieces and 1 point behind is striking back.
Yeah, I like this. Vaishali going for e4. You know, I couldn't figure out what was actually her main move. And I saw like in the database, it was evenly split, at least in recent games, right, from this year. It was evenly split between e4 and d4. And we saw her play d4. Now we're seeing her play e4. And yes, Bibi Sara playing the Najdorf is not a surprise. Queen d3. I don't know. Have you ever seen that move before in the Najdorf?
Well, I actually never seen, but I was once studying the Najdorf on stream. And one grandmaster just came to the stream and said, good luck. You have to face at least 15 good moves with white at move 6. And for sure, queen d3 is a possible move. So
yeah, it's true. Like you're seeing like all kinds of systems now against a6, right? Like white. I mean, queen d3, you would never think of studying that like 20 years ago. But I mean, I certainly, when I was looking at the Najdorf, like, you know, when I was a teenager, like this was not on my radar at all. Right now, people are just coming up with all kinds of like funky moves.
Yeah. Black is kind of developing pieces in a quite weird way, I must say. Very shy. b6. Also still not going for the typical Najdorf move that is e5. And I don't know, this looks extremely atypical. What is the idea behind queen d3? Let's try to...
I was just going to ask that question myself. Like, I mean, what is the idea to provoke an attack by the black knight on e5 or c5? I mean, it just looks pretty anti-positional, right? But I guess you're probably going to want to go queen g3 at some point. That must be the idea. no, it's a puzzle. Oh, I mean, like, maybe another idea is that you're like protecting the e4 pawn. Maybe somewhere you can play knight d5. I mean, it's hard to understand, right? It's just not a very classical move, like moving the queen that early. So those are my best guesses, like as to what this move is about. Maybe you want to like play bishop d2, keep the knight protected on d4. That's not very convincing either. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it could also be just a way to bring immediately the opponent out of preparation, and it's definitely not a terrible move. And I think it kind of, okay, what white is doing is playing f4 and bishop f3, but is it in some ways connected to the idea of queen d3?
Yeah, so black has a lot of moves here. I mean, I would suggest like e5, you got to look at that. I mean, that's just sort of an obvious forcing option. It's really the most forcing move that black has. White is maybe threatening the move e5 at some point themselves, right? So you want to watch out for that tactic. But like, you would think that e5 is like a very reasonable positional move. I guess the knight could go to f5, right? And then, yeah, then you have to consider like knight c5, tempo, and then g6 somewhere.
The queen might move to e2.
Yeah, queen e2, g6, and
I'm not sure where this knight is going. Oh, there is an idea with taking here and then go to h6 with the knight. Because then the bishop is protecting the knight.
And you're having a hard time like castling here.
Yeah. So maybe some chances. Okay, there are some moves, and we see exactly e5, knight f5, knight. Whoa, we are predicting.
Oh, interesting. That's on the board. Yeah, e5. Well, okay, e5, knight
and g6 as well.
So now Vaishali has to find this knight h6 idea. I guess the one I was thinking about, knight e3 is interesting, but you're gonna have to actually consider that black might take the pawn on e4.
Yeah,
it's not out of the question. So I think given that there's not that many good options, she has a better chance of finding this f takes e5 move.
Well, knight g3 looks like just a possible move, but it's a bit passive because the knight then is not really any active, but it's just going there to protect the pawn on e4.
Yeah, I think there's no chance she's playing like knight e3, a knight g3. I mean, it's just like, if you're a Sicilian player and you like start playing passively, you know how badly that usually ends up for white.
Yeah, and f take e5 looks actually pretty logical. You're attacking a knight, and then you are the knight gets an extra option. I would say knight e3 could also be a possible solution because the knight is going towards d5, and if black is taking the pawn on e4, then maybe you could say that you have compensation against the pawn on e5 and the king that is still stuck at the middle of the board.
Yeah, well, she's thinking now, right? Because it's like, it makes sense. It is an important moment for white. Like, she feels that she needs to like make a good decision here, and she went for it. She's gonna go for knight h6, I believe, right after the trade. That's the only move that really makes sense, because now your bishop protects h6.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
No. It said never knight g3, and that's what happened.
Knight g3. I gave such clearly
not knight g3. Come on,
move, right? Yeah. Okay, that was really passive. That was really unfortunate, because like, I mean, now
maybe she has an idea of going for h4, h5, and so the knight on g3 makes sense there.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so black has so many moves here. I don't know. They can look at bishop c5. Bishop c5, reasonable move. Knight d4, queen f2 maybe doesn't do that much. Bishop c5 is a pretty reasonable development. Bishop b4 they can look at as well.
Oh, bishop b4.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that white here cannot really long castle. So the king needs to be on the king side. And
Yeah.
then what is white playing for?
Well, you know,
For
black has an excellent knight on e6. I mean, that is just a fantastic little beast over there. All the
excellent.
control over the center. And that's the reason that, you know, and white's knight is on g3. And, you know, now she's trying to go knight e2, right? She wants to, at some point, bring that knight back to e2, like castles, knight e2. Makes sense, actually. So queen f2, yes, I do understand that move, and she's attacking b6, trying to scare black a little bit with that. Black can answer, you know, queen c7, of course, all kinds of, you know, moves like attacking c3.
Yeah.
It's kind of an annoying choice for black, because black clearly has a lot of good moves here. Black can take on c3, but white basically gets to castle. Like, okay, I mean, if you give away the dark squared bishop, you will need to be a bit careful about your dark squares. And this is also one of the reasons I was like saying, well, you know, bishop c5 also made sense.
Yeah. Just challenging the white dark square bishop. And now it's an important moment. Black is taking some time. And what are the candidates move here for black? Queen c7 one?
Candidate moves for black, queen c. Oh, she played queen c7.
Queen c7. That's the only candidate move and the only move made.
Yes. So white's gonna castle, right? That's pretty obvious. Got to get that king out of there. And bishop c5. There we go. So she decided to keep the bishop. She did lose a tempo, right? I mean, along the way, Bibisara did just lose a tempo with bishop b4 to c5. That
yeah, your idea was more coherent then.
Yeah, now there's some issues with a knight on f6, I would say also, right? It's like, it looks a little dubious, like that knight is hanging.
Okay. d5.
Yeah, so she's trying to do something quickly. It makes sense to me. I mean, like, white is now better developed, so she's like trying to go in and open the game. So I like that move. It's going to get exciting because Vaishali 32 seconds, Bibisara like just a bit more, but now Vaishali's got the upper hand on the board.
Yeah, and there is not really a way to defend this knight. I mean, queen d8 is a way, but it feels a bit slow. And after knight takes on d5, then where is this knight going? Okay, there is knight g5 because the bishop cannot capture, as your queen would be.
Yeah, she has a lot to think about here with that knight coming to e4. I mean, like, the problem here is that, okay, now she's ahead on the clock because, you know, just the level of difficulty that black is in. Like,
knight
here's
d4.
d6 here. She's got to look at the move d6, knight e4. I mean,
maybe black can try to long castle and bring a knight on d6. Trying to stop.
I mean, I think isn't d6 just great here? Isn't she winning the e5 pawn? Oh, or there's knight takes f3.
Oh, knight
okay,
takes
there was
f3,
knight takes f3 check. Got
short castle. Okay, also safe for the king.
So she won a pawn. She definitely, I don't know, it looked good, but
this pawn on d5 is pretty weak because there is rook knight take f3 and then the pawn is falling. Oh, there is knight f6. Attention.
Yeah, knight d6. I guess she probably needs to go in with that move. So she's still going to be up a pawn. Yeah, she's going to take place c3. Easy move, c3. Okay, bishop e4.
Bishop e4, f5?
Yeah. C3, trap the knight.
Ooh. Goodbye. Wow, nice. Wow.
Yeah, you can't underestimate Vaishali. Okay.
The queen d3 idea, novelty, and neither.
So she just won 3 in a row. You know, that is a lot, actually.
Yeah, she just needed the first game. But I have to say, I see the difference in online rating is pretty consistent. He's nearly 100 rating points.
100 rating points. Who's higher, Vaishali?
Yeah, Vaishali. 2,672 versus 2,592.
Yeah, I guess she's winning some points here. All right, she continued her line with h6 that worked so well for her in the previous game. And wow, she like plays b6 so quickly, leaving the knight on c6 hanging. Like, why is she so confident about that? Like, she played that instantly. That must be some preparation because
Yeah, what is happening if knight e5? Of
Yeah, I'm
course.
assuming knight takes.
Oh, and if
And figure
bishop
something
take?
out. Yeah, like here, there's bishop g4. You got to look at even like knight c4 winning a pawn wouldn't be so bad. Like, even here, you have, compensation, I would say, for the exchange. I don't know, maybe it's not enough, but there's some. But bishop
Yeah,
g4
but if
is
bishop
like,
g4 can lead black to capture the bishop on a8, then I quite like this position for black. Maybe even a check on f3 at some point. Looks. I mean, if the queen is moved somewhere, this can be.
yeah, well, this is a problem. Yeah, like queen a8, knight c4, like everything is sort of
Yeah.
hanging here.
All right, let's see what white is doing. Knight e5. Oh my god, white is going for it, but he's taking on e5. Is this do you think this is preparation?
I mean, I feel like it is. I just don't think that someone would play, I don't know, b6 like that quickly. She didn't use any time at all on that.
Wow.
I mean, maybe she's just familiar with the idea. I don't know if it's that exact position, but she did play this very confidently. And now bishop g4.
Bishop g4. Just
nice.
Not protecting, not moving the rook on e8, not taking the pawn on e5, but just attacking the queen. And where is the queen going? Because I think we are getting similar position after, for example, queen c2, the bishop take on e5, and then if bishop take a8, queen take a8, and we have some strong attack. But I think this is what is going to happen. I don't see. Okay, f3 could also be an option, but then your bishop on g2 is not really okay. But if f3 is black losing a piece
about that. Well, that's interesting, right? So
oh, there is bishop take e5.
Yeah,
and then the knight on c3
bishop f5 with a tempo if you needed it. But yeah, this one, well, I mean, you have to calculate. So bishop e5, pawn takes g4.
And there is knight on c3 hanging. Because then
attacking the rook. So pawn takes, and like now, what's the point? Which way do we take? What do we do here?
Actually, we are about to reach the same position on the board. This is the current position. So will white capture here, I think?
Yeah, white will capture because, I mean, what else is there to do? Otherwise, she's just, down a pawn. So she's going to have.
Let's say after f take, bishop take a8. Is there any compensation here?
There's also bishop d4. This is a very annoying check.
Ooh, because then you're capturing with check. Oh, yeah.
Very annoying intermediate move. And now, like,
you have to go on g2.
Yeah, you got to run.
On h3, hiding.
Yeah, there's queen f3, but then there's rook e2. That's an important move as well. We can get a couple of pawns. So, yeah, okay. So she played bishop d4. Huh. Interesting.
First the check, and then with idea to capture the bishop.
Huh.
Well, you reach very similar positions.
Yeah, but that was a mistake, right? Because there's this queen f3 move here, and then you don't have any more check ideas.
Oh yeah.
Right, because you're not going to take an a8. She clearly thought she was improving by putting the king on h1, but now she has no more ideas of checks against that king.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes is the idea is the same, but the move order is different, and this can make a whole difference there. Now queen f3, just attacking the bishop and the rook. There is no longer a check.
It's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame because she had like such a nice tricks there, right? And her opening was again working out really well. But Bibisara, she finds queen f3. Okay, good. So she's going to be up in exchange, I guess, after she takes on a8. So, black will have a pawn, but black is definitely going to be somewhat worse. I don't know how easy it is to win, but
okay, there is the idea of queen d4 that is protecting the bishop, forcing if white wants to take on a8, needs to give away the queen for two rooks. How would be that position?
There's also rook d1, right? There's rook d1 on that.
And if queen e4? E5, sorry.
E5, then bishop F4 looks pretty problematic.
Sorry, which move here?
Bishop F4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like, I don't know. I guess you can try to run around. Yeah, I mean, definitely feels like white's got some initiative here, but okay. I mean, I guess black is holding on. And so she played rook b3 instead.
Yes.
Instead of rook d1. So queen d4 did happen. Okay. Rook b3. So where's this bishop gonna go?
On a5?
On a5. Yeah, I agree. It's actually, I mean, I guess you can put him on e1, but there's no real point to do that. Why would you? A1 is interesting. I mean, yeah, it's actually very interesting.
But after rook d1 and then bishop f4 couldn't be in danger. I mean, just wanting to attack the queen, no? To get the queen away from protecting the bishop.
Yeah, the bishop at a1 is a difficult move to play tactically, I think. I mean, like leaving it available to attack with bishop e3, I think is just pretty hard to bring yourself to do that. Actually.
It looks suspicious. Ooh, black played here the move knight to e4. So not moving the bishop, but protecting it.
Interesting move by Vaishali. So she's giving up the f7 pawn. I can understand her choice. I mean, she's trying to like stay active, right? And I maybe, you know, I see the computer eval bar doesn't like necessarily love that move, but it seems interesting for black. I can understand why she did it. You know, in Blitz, it's like initiative is a lot, right? And like not and at least being the one who has the easier position to play. So okay, queen f7, king h8, and then what should white do?
Yeah, the problem that white doesn't really have any very active move here. I mean, ideas with bishop take h6, I guess, are not going to work because the queen can always go back to g7, and also white is attacking with no pieces at the moment.
Yeah.
Is there a way to organize a g5 move at one point, or now even? I mean, for example, what if g5?
G5.
Oh, there is rook f8.
Rook f8. And how strong is that? I guess it's pretty strong because of this knight f2 threat that will come up eventually. She just played g5 immediately.
Oh, she just played
G5. She just played that move. Okay, cool. Wow. 40 seconds. It's getting really, really tense on the board.
I like the idea because basically now you take on f7 and then there is not the idea of rook f8. So again, move order make the difference when it's about.
Yeah, it's also important that, you know, there's no knight g5 because the bishop on c3 will hang, right? So she did find a really good move to like keep the initiative. And what can black do here? Wow, actually, I wouldn't want to be black in this situation. I mean, I feel like it's so much easier to play as white. I mean, now queen f7, the king is open. White has at least a draw. Yeah. Right? So now 100% queen f7 is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And then, of course, this king is weak forever, or at least for a while. And of course, the draw would be queen h5, queen f7, but I'm sure that Bibisara, being 3-1, she wants to try for more here. Okay, she did one repetition just to show the opponent, you know, I can do it at any point. Now she has 12 seconds.
Yeah, super complicated as well. Like, I don't know how she's
gonna...
Wow.
Rook and b5. I really like rook lifts in chess. I find they are very fascinating ideas.
Now rook f8 is like a really big question. Can black just play rook f8 and make white give up their queen? And she did it. And this is something that can really backfire on Bibisara.
Okay. Yeah. Are the two rooks when are the two rooks stronger than a queen?
when the king is safe. When the king is safe, and in this position, white's king is not super safe, but neither side has any real time. So this can go either way, I think. Like black's
Yeah, the
king is
problem is
not,
this knight on
yeah.
f2. Oh my god.
Wow. Knight d3, so the bishop on
Losing a
c1.
piece.
Oh, but
Not
she
really
can't
losing.
really take it. Okay. It might just end in a draw, because honestly, like if you don't have any time, it's very hard to play. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with her decision. I mean, like
Yeah, also being two points up is good to keep it on a
yeah,
draw
I
with
mean,
just
you
one.
got to be a little realistic. I mean, it's interesting, like where was the advantage for black in that final position? It wasn't something huge, right? Like she basically had to like move her bishop back from e1 somewhere, right? So there wasn't anything decisive. She just had to keep playing. So with 4 seconds on the clock, I understand her decision to take a draw. All right, so we're back in this line. She, after e4, she's back to this. I mean, obviously, I can tell Vaishali prepared for this match, right? I mean, she's being very flexible in her openings. And Bibisara, I mean, so far she's kind of just playing what she's being allowed to play. She's playing her normal opening repertoire, but Vaishali is definitely the one mixing it up in the openings more.
Yeah, I would just want to say that right now there are still 34 minutes going on. So I would say about 3 games, a bit more than 3 games, 4 games we are going to see. So Bibisara still has a chance to end the first section of this match with an equal or even an advantage. She needs to win 3 games in a row, which is not easy.
Yeah, it's amazing how this game has changed from that first game, right? Like when we saw her won, she won pretty easily and big time advantage as well. And now, like for the rest of the match, it's basically been Vaishali's show. So she really turned it around after that first game.
Yeah, it's nice. And she's going again for this Jobava London variation with the knight on c3, but this time the knight is already back on c3. What is the difference? So she played c6 pretty early. Yeah, instead of c5 this
C6,
time.
yeah, instead of c5. So she took my advice, but honestly, she played c5 again, and I'm not a fan of this position for black either. I'm kind of curious about why white doesn't want to like put a pawn on a5, which seems to be an interesting idea. Okay, knight b8. She wants to go to c6. It's like a rare kind of thing where you undevelop a knight in order to develop it again. But I do understand it because it wasn't very well placed on d7.
Yeah, and also blocking the bishop that most probably doesn't really want to be on b7 right now.
Yeah,
maybe wants to go on f5. So maybe some idea with knight bishop f5, knight f6, knight c6, knight b4.
Yeah,
a5 even maybe.
So this is an interesting moment, right? So she took, and she's gonna play a5. Are we gonna see that move?
Ooh, I love this move.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, just blocking all the pawns on the queen side, and there is an amazing maneuver with knight a4, and then maybe b6, knight b6 or knight c5. Now I would say from a pawn structure, white is clearly better, right?
Yes, and I'm thinking like since you can't necessarily play knight a4 right away. I mean, maybe you can, but there was the pawn would hang. b4 was an idea for white. So it's interesting that Bibisara decides it's time to just break out and give up a pawn. Well, okay, obviously white has to take it, right? Because they got to take it and see what black wants.
Yeah, what is the idea?
Yeah, so you gotta take it. The idea. Good question. What is the idea? What is the idea? D4 afterwards?
Maybe just open up the bit. Yeah, maybe bishop b7 and d4 and trying to get some kind of attack towards the king.
Yeah, even if bishop f3 is gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit strange. It is a bit strange. Like what she's.
Yeah, it's so hard when you are in a worse position. And you don't have active ideas, because sometimes then the only ideas that comes to mind are ideas that are then just very dangerous. Like,
well, it's interesting. I see the eval bar really loves this for white, but Okay, bishop e5 is interesting. Preventing d4, and if the knight ever moves, we're going to trade. And perhaps knight a4 is a move here. Knight a4. Queen d4. Okay,
d4.
nice.
Yeah, I like how white plays here.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Caro-Kann a little bit. Advanced variation, yeah, with c5.
I like white is keeping flexible, and probably b4 will happen at one point. But white is waiting for it because it's better if you protect opponent with the piece, like knight a4, maybe knight f4 right now. Still.
Yeah, no, I like your b4 idea. Yeah, that is very nice, and Vaishali liked it too. So she's kind of established that extra pawn. That's it. Black is not going to win it. So Black's only hope is some kind of counterplay in the center where they have an extra pawn. Queen e5, I guess, is the obvious move. And they're always going to have queen e6 check on f6. So everything still is looking under control by white. I wonder what she's thinking about. Like, why is queen e5 not obvious? Is there queen c7 or something? Like, maybe she doesn't want the end game.
Mostly, isn't the end game what white should go for?
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, you'd think so, but she's thinking here, and then so you kind of have to wonder because queen e5 is like a very obvious move. But
could be f6 an idea for black? Then maybe f6 e5.
Yeah, I thought that we would have queen e6 there for the moment, but okay, queen f4 makes sense. So there's no f6. Queen is still centralized. On d4, I guess we just play knight e4. And she just wants to play, I don't know, rook a d1. I don't even know where she's going to put the bishop. Bishop f3, bishop d3, both look pretty good. Rook d1 will definitely happen.
F6. Right. I honestly like the idea because black needs to try something. And at least if black manages to push e5, then there is some kind of central control. And maybe your knight might go towards d4. There is bishop g4.
Yeah, so e5 and queen d2. Okay. So it does look like black is making some progress. To be honest, like I mean, this is the most they could have gotten, right? Is like pushing those pawns, and that's why I was thinking like queen e5, queen e6 to hold that off. So I don't know. I see that eval bar loves white, so I get that, but still I feel like the game is going at least in a decent direction for black from what they had. And I think now, are they going to have to just take that knight? They might have to, because we're sort of threatening knight d6 at some point, bishop f5 and knight d6. So queen d5. Okay.
Yeah, of course, here we don't want to remove these knights because we have a mate on g2. I've seen way too many sub battles and bad things happen, but not at top level. Bishop f3, just asking a question to the queen. Now there is the idea of knight take f6 check, winning a queen. So this queen needs to leave.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen on queen d7. So queen d7 is the obvious move. And now, g3. Okay, interesting. G3 positional move. That's a very interesting positional move. She just like wants to restrict the knight a little bit. Doesn't have like very specific idea. Just seems like a kind of a patient improving move. All right.
Yeah, probably. And now bishop g2 protecting the pawn on h3, then maybe king h2. I mean, it's just lovely. Probably white saw the time and wants to play fast moves and try to improve the position, which is actually a very practical approach. Because sometimes in blitz games, you are in time trouble and then you cannot find maybe the most precise combination, and so you
know what's really interesting here? Rook takes d4. What do you think about rook d4? Pawn takes, queen takes. Just give up the rook for the pawns, try to win the knight. I think, it's really worth looking at.
Oh, she's doing this.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
see, the computer didn't like it, but it was like a
yeah,
very
because
human thing to do.
yeah, but it seems like there is rook d8 and then knight, ooh, knight b6, and then you're not winning
Okay,
the
that's a
piece.
crazy discovery. That's just so evil, man. That knight b6 move, how, covering c4 so that there's no check. How are we supposed to see that?
Dang, yeah, that's so unfortunate.
Wow, knight b6, and I mean, she
And
finds it. Yeah.
yeah, the idea is that, of course, now the knight is protecting, the knight is untouchable because the queen is hanging on d4, and there is no check on c4 whatsoever,
Yeah.
because if
I'm
not, white would be
sorry.
winning.
I'm sorry that I recommended this move. It was just very tempting, and of course, I didn't see this.
But I have to say, still interesting because, well, I don't know.
There's a lot of pawns, but if we could put at least something like a knight on the board for white would be interesting. Yeah. It was
Yeah, but
it was a pretty cool tactic.
they say 2 pawns on the 6th rank are like a rook. Oh, I like bishop
Wow.
d5 and c4.
Wow.
Like this idea.
Yeah.
7 seconds to find it. Yes.
Wow. This is exciting. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe those pawns are actually going to go and do something in this game.
Yeah, because now if white has an extra move, just c6, c7, and then b7.
Yeah, what about rook b1 though? Rook b1, c6, rook takes b4, c7. Well, yeah, then
no,
b6
c7.
hangs.
You have to play b7, but then black is stopping the pawns with. Oh no.
Yeah, they're not stopping the pawns so easily. Wow. So maybe we were going to get some more excitement in this game. I hope.
Ooh, rookie 1, okay.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Maybe
I mean,
rook e7, and then b7, right? We're like. So
oh,
which pawn is she
rook
going
e8.
to push? Wow.
Okay, but
it
now
says that white is winning. They're just
now
going b7, right? And b7 and like, I don't know, bishop e6 or something like that.
c5. Go with the whole pawn. The whole pawns. Bishop c4 just
Wow.
going to take the pawn, and then there are 4 pawns. This is an incredible endgame. Just 3 seconds for white.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm definitely excited by this b7. Oh.
Yeah, and now you're taking the pawn. Now you still have 2
now
pawns.
it's
So
equal, right? Now your pawns are not like really going anywhere. So they have
yeah.
no time, and the bishop is not that good. Oh man. Oh man.
Oh my
she
god,
might lose
white
on
moved with
time.
0.1 seconds. It's incredible. But this is
Wow.
still.
I mean, it's still not clear what's going on.
Absolutely not. Now you have to try to push the h pawn, of course,
Maybe
but
this game is going to end in a draw. I wouldn't be shocked. Oh wait,
okay, the
no,
king has to move, and now
like,
ooh,
yeah.
he's lost.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, you can't lose this pawn with check. No, this is the worst.
She just
this
lost.
is the worst.
Wow.
Time travel is time travel for
that was
everyone.
Crazy. That was an absolutely crazy game. Like, nice.
Okay, exciting for us because the score of the match gets closer, and so this means that we still will have an intense fight until the end of the 5+1 section, and then definitely also later. So let's see the opening. So Bibisar went for d4, and
so that was really an important game for her. I mean, because like now she actually pulled within 1 point of Vaishali. That is like, okay, that's really close. It's not a bad place to be. And to win that kind of position where she was again struggling in the opening, down a pawn at some point. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, she won't forget the knight b6 tactic, I think.
Yeah. So now she changed her opening a little bit. She didn't play knight f3. She took on d5, and we have like a kind of a standard Carlsbad system here. Curious to see. So she's playing with knight f3, right? So knight f3, knight f8, and then will Bibisara play like bishop f4, for example?
So now Vaishali, interesting choice. She went now for a classical position. Not she didn't try any more new ideas with h6, and we have probably one of the most played position in history of chess.
Yeah, so knight e4. Okay, bishop f4 was like instead of castles was possible. There is a prophylactic move against knight e4. So now knight e4. You would think that Vaishali would be doing that, but okay. G6.
Yeah,
so...
I remember when I studied this opening, I didn't understand very well the plans. But now I know that this knight wants to go on g7 and then to bring a bishop on f5. trying to exchange the bishop. This is one of the idea for black.
Yeah, so I guess she will take on f6, yeah, and try to play b4 or not. What does she want to do? Bishop f6 wins a tempo, but loses the bishop.
Bishop h6 loses tempo or wins it?
Oh, bishop f6 loses it. I'm sorry. Oh, bishop h4 she played. Okay, so knight g7 is kind of a given. I think it's a given. I don't know. She's thinking. So maybe. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and then followed by either bishop f5 ideas or knight f5 ideas, taking the bishop.
Yeah, interesting what she will do actually. Knight f5 or bishop
f5.
So she went for this one. Okay. So probably something like b5 by white.
Yeah, mostly white this is the so-called minority attack, where white is attacking with one pawn against two pawns on the queen side. And the idea is that after b5, for example, if black is capturing the pawn, d5 will be always weak, b7 will be always weak. So it's a way to like put really the queen side under serious pressure, because you will be leaving black with some weak pawns. And she took on f6. It's interesting that she took just now on f6 and then played the move b5.
Yeah, so if you take on f5 and you let the knight out, that knight can go to d6 and c4 and kind of get that outpost on c4. So white doesn't want to help the knight do that. So it's very classical position. The only problem is that white is going to have only one weakness to attack on c6. Is it going to be enough, right? The bishop at f6 is not greatly placed, but if it goes back, like, it would probably prefer to be better, prefer to be on d6, but it's a little tricky to get it there because it lets the knight into e5. So it's easier for white to play for sure. But white still has to figure out how to get their knight on c3 somewhere, right? Because now they can't go knight a4, which is where they usually would like to go. And black is very close to playing knight d6 to c4. And that's going to make your attack on the c6 pawn like a lot harder.
Yeah, okay. White is trying to exchange the rook on the a-file. Maybe then to go with the knight, towards a4. What else could be an idea for white? Yeah, black is going, of course, with that typical knight towards c4 as you announced.
Yep, so knight c4, and what is white going to do about that? Because it really covers up the weakness, and rook takes a8 here doesn't seem like it really gives white anything.
Yeah, because you cannot bring a rook on the a-file.
Yeah, knight d2 makes sense. Yeah, stopping knight c4. Okay, so I mean, still, of course, nicer looking position for white.
Yeah, after a waiting move like queen a7. What is white? How is white improving the position?
I mean, I think knight a4 is the move to look at, right? Like knight a4 and rook fc1.
Oh yeah. So ideally,
a4 is very typical because the knight on c3 is not very good. Yes. So queen b6. So on knight a4. What's the idea? Knight a4, queen b4, there is rook fb1, right? So knight a4, maybe queen b5 is the point, actually. Right.
Trying to exchange the queens.
Yeah. And then maybe even changing the pawn structure.
So that after queen take, you want to take with the pawn.
Well, I was thinking about it, but the problem is the d5 pawn is weak, right? And so now there's like knight b6 or knight c3. We're probably going to win that pawn. So she might have to take with the
knights. But then white is getting exactly what she wants. Placing a knight on c5 wouldn't be bad for sure. Okay, let's see. White played rook b, rook fb1.
Okay.
And the rook got exchanged and the rook went on b8. So now still the idea of knight a4, knight c5 is possible, but
maybe
is
rook
there...
a6, you know, maybe start with rook a6.
Oh,
You know, just to kind of push the queen back a little bit more passively, right? And also, by the way, there's a little tactic here after rook a6, queen b7, knight takes d5 is
sorry,
actually
after...
queen b7, knight takes d5, knight takes d5 is actually a really interesting tactic based on the hanging knight on d6.
I like it.
Yes, I think she will play rook a6. There we go. It's on the board.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, so she's still thinking. Oh, I thought it was already played. Let me see. But here, let me get the current position.
Yeah, and Bibisara is getting under 1 minute just right now. She played rook b1, not rook a6. Is she going to exchange the rooks on b8? Yes, and then...
Oh, that's sad. That is sad that she didn't play rook a6. Like, no, her chances to win go way down after the trade of rooks. Like, you need the rooks on the board to attack c6. What are you going to attack that weakness with? That's like a really big positional misjudgment. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, maybe she didn't, you know, see exactly what to do, but like trading the rooks is definitely the wrong idea, because then you only have one weakness to attack, and the knights are not really that well positioned to attack c6. And even if you put a knight on c5 now, like, you know, the outpost is not worth all that much.
Yeah.
So I'm not so thrilled about where this game is going for white.
40 seconds.
Yeah,
white
she doesn't
and
have
1
a lot
minute.
of time either.
Yeah. I mean, I think that white will still put pressure here. Bringing a knight on c4 seems still a good idea. Maybe the other knight towards e5, c5, e5. Those are two good squares for the knight. But yeah, gets a bit harder to counterattack here. Is black having any active idea in this position, or is just here defending and trying to...
Yeah, well, active idea. I guess you can play queen b4 if you want to be really active and like attack the knight on d2. But queen b5 makes sense. Queen a6. I mean, I would probably just play these moves without thinking too much. Queen a6. And queen is good on that diagonal. You never know. It might go to d3 one day. White has definitely, yeah, completely lost initiative. King g7. Watch this move happen now. Let's see if I can predict it right. Just king g7.
Yeah, it looks a very logical prophylactic moves, just avoiding any check.
Yeah,
no, black doesn't need to think. Knight b5.
Okay, I didn't guess that right, but I mean, knight b5 makes a lot of sense as well. And then, like, I don't know, h5 here, for example. Good positional move.
I really like how black is approaching this. Is trying to, in some ways, be active and pushing the white pieces back. Now king g7, you had it. Knight on f4 and like bishop d6.
Yeah, the knight is coming to what, to d3, I guess, back to d3. Yeah, bishop d6 is good.
Of course, the dream for black would be to push on c5 and then c4. But
yeah,
this is not going to happen too easily.
Yeah,
no?
I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, she needs to play a little faster because she's spending time on like not a very critical moments, Vaishali, right? Bishop d6 and h5. Just like make a couple of moves quickly. You don't need to think in positions like this very much.
Yeah, the queen. I don't like the trend of this game. I really don't like too much how it's going. Black is really taking
still holding
space.
on though. She's still holding on. Yeah, but I of course I agree. You know, like black has the initiative now. Look at where their queen got. All right, but now we're in that, you know, seconds on the clock phase, so we know anything can happen at this point.
Yeah, 6 with. I mean, black has 10 more seconds on the clock, right? Now c6 is under attack.
Knight e4 and g3, h5. I mean, h6 you can play, something like that. Okay, f6. All right. Now what? Knight c3. She wants to go knight e2, win the knight. Maybe take it. Take an f4. I don't know. It's a double-edged decision. So they are seriously like, they're in like a big, important part of the game, but there's like no time. Wow, that queen is nearly trapped.
Wow.
He's pinning the queen. I mean,
and now c5 happened.
Yeah, I have no idea what is going on.
The pawn on f2 is hanging, the pawn is protecting, and
Wow,
e3
she's
is
winning
falling.
now. She's winning.
Yeah, she's taking all the pawns.
But okay,
now
now
f3
there's like a check, king g6, I guess, king h6. Oh, wow. Did she flag? No, it's a draw. It's a draw. Wow. Oh, Vaishali, she did great. I mean, giving herself winning chances. And now, okay, this game ended in a draw. I mean, but it did give us some big excitement in those last seconds. I mean, I think it's going to end in a draw, right? There's not like that much for either side to do, although, okay. Yeah, f2 is hanging.
Yeah, right now it's pretty dry. I like the knight is always tricky in this position with some forks.
Yeah, she's actually kind of worse, right? But I mean, I guess you can defend king g7 or okay, bishop h4. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, now that there is just one pawn on the board, should be pretty easy to protect. But I see the fight. The knight is actually dominated, but now the king is attacking the bishop, so the knight can move.
Wow.
I mean, bishop would take f4 is at any point making a draw for black.
Yeah, they're both still playing for a win, but
yeah, I mean, look at the time is real. Okay, they just made a draw by repetition.
Yeah,
but we see that they fight. They don't want to give it up easily.
Really good, really good. All right, so Vaishali keeps 1 point advantage when they have 2 more games. Well, maybe 2 or 1 more game left to play in this first portion of the Women's Speed Chess Championship. And she's back with the same line that's been working for her so well.
Yeah, for the fan of the London system, I'm sure there are many fans in the chat of the London system. Such a popular opening nowadays.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe she's going to play d6 now, baby Sarah. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's right. She didn't go for d5 anymore, and she let white build up this e4 space advantage. And I think, you know, that's the kind of change she probably needed to make here.
Yes, I really like this position. When a pawn is on e4, I feel happier. And I like white position, white ideas with right now, just exchanging the strongest piece, the strongest bishop for black with the idea of bishop h6. And will white go for a long castle or for a short castle? I'm excited to see where is white going to place the king. Okay, bishop take h6, maybe preparing h4. The problem is b4, no? b4 here is always an idea that white needs to consider, because if not, the pawn on e4 might be hanging. So that's why white played e5 here.
Yeah, she's been playing very aggressively, and I guess I am expecting white to even castle a queenside in this game. Where is black going to take this knight? Like pawn takes e5 and knight d5, so she plays knight d5 right away. By the way, there's bishop e4 is a possibility. It's a move that you can consider. I mean, I know you can play like e6 or something, but yeah, I would at least consider the move bishop e4 here. What else can we consider? You can consider knight e4. Sure, you can go knight e4.
Always like the move h4, going for h5.
Yeah, exactly, h4. And I think h4 is actually what she's going to do next, right? So now black has to really attack the white center. Otherwise, you know, they're going to be getting attacked on the flank. But the problem is that c5 was not so easy to play. And now I would just go h4.
Is something like e6 a possibility? Every time the knight is on in d7, e6 looks like possible, with the idea of f take and then knight g5. Is this a possibility?
It definitely is a possibility. I mean, it definitely looks pretty good. Okay, she went h4, h5. Now e6 is like even more of a possibility, because now the black is weakened. So there's a lot of good stuff you can do here. I mean, you can think about, I mean, g4 looks a little crazy, right? Okay, knight g3.
I don't really.
She wants to sack.
Yeah, she wants to. The only idea is to go with a knight on f5 or knight on h5.
I think rook h8 probably needs to be played, but I mean, knight h5 is a pretty big threat. Okay, so she defends queen g5 by opening up her queen on d8. pretty good. Good idea. Now she stops white from playing e6. Okay. So maybe Vaishali overlooked that. Yeah, that's a pretty nice defensive move, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, now the ideas are not anymore so exciting for white, because how is white going on? Maybe the knight needs to go back on e4, and now the only push breakthrough with the pawns is to go for g4. But everything seems much slower. I'm really sad that a6 didn't happen.
Yeah, you can try rook h3, trying to do the sack and play rook g3, but yeah, I mean, black will probably be able to play rook h8 at some point and just defend. So now black is starting their counterattack. Shall we take on d6 and allow white to play c4 and then like knight f6 and win that pawn back? Okay, so
yeah, white just took on c5. And maybe bishop e4 just blocking the knight, as the bishop on b7 is unprotected. And is there
e7? I think queen e7 is going to be played here.
Is a possible plan for white to go for rook h3, knight take h5 now?
Yep. That's a plan. Yeah, that I was looking at. So I think okay, c4 also makes sense for black. So they want to go knight c5, rook h3, rook h8, and then what? That's the question, right? So, okay, by the way, c4, c3 is an idea. We should mention that. That's like,
Sure.
Black wants to open up the white king as well.
I'm looking, is knight take h5 now a possibility, and then rook h3? I mean, of course, would be better to be able to give a check on the king, but is it a possible thing?
The problem is they're probably going to go like rook h8, rook g3, king f8, and they're going to hide their king.
Hiding with the king.
Yeah,
it looks dangerous. Doesn't look like pieces are getting anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big game, right? Because like it's their final game of the 5-1 portion, and if Bibisara wins, right now she has a lot more time. Her position has improved. I mean, it's gonna go in to the second part like completely even. So rook h3, rook h8, all of this is happening. Yeah, I mean, somehow Vaishali has messed up her attack. And right now it seems like the odds predictions it's like they're very, very close as to how this match is going to go. And
yeah, I think that Bibisara now has protected everything on the king's side, and so now she can try to go forward. How is white going to stop? Oh, okay, c3 is going to stop c3 by playing c3 herself, but now there is b4. That can be a new idea, maybe prepared by a5.
Yeah, you wonder if she's going to go like queen e7 makes sense, and then by the way, b4 starting to really be an idea. Maybe rook b8. I mean, she doesn't need to hurry, right? She can play like rook a b8. So bishop d5, and what was the point of that? Because now bishop f3 is already like an idea. So queen f4, So I still don't really know what exactly the threat is. Bishop f3, you're gonna have to take with a g pawn. Okay. Yeah, I mean, knight c5 to d3 is also like a big problem. So I don't really know what white is doing, and I'm pretty sure white doesn't really know either. I think they've completely lost the thread, once the attack got stopped, and the knight on g3 can't do anything, and the rook on h3 can't do anything. Like white's lost the thread, and she's like way down on the clock now.
Yeah, knight g5 with the idea of going with the knight on e4 seems like the last remaining hope for white, maybe even exchanging the queen. But now the pawn on g2 is also...
But she's giving up the exchange, right? Like knight d3, rook d3, pawn d3. So her move is quite dramatic. I mean, she just didn't even defend against knight d3. Wow. And Vaishali decides,
not to take.
Decides
this is incredible.
Yeah.
White is really desperate in this position. And
I guess she just wants to open the game, Alessia. She wants to open the game before going knight d3. I think that was the idea.
Yeah, it looks like black is really not in a hurry. Knight d3 is always a possibility. I'm just wondering. Yeah, now it happened. And is the idea of queen f6 interesting? Because after queen take, pawn take, can the
Wow.
king go to h6?
Yeah, she's getting the d3 pawn. The pawn in f6 is really good, and so is the knight. So something
Yeah,
has
now there is knight g5.
gone very wrong for black. Yeah.
And what if rook hf8?
Yeah, just rook takes d3. I mean, she's
Yeah.
now just playing for positional compensation. Like her knight is amazing, her rook is good, her pawn is amazing. The black's king is like, the black's king might get mated in this game. Like if they're not careful, like it's in a mating net.
I mean,
so,
this move is probably losing. Yeah, just rook d8 and then mate.
Yeah, so she unexpectedly got herself like a lot of compensation. But the issue for her is time. She has very little time, and like Bibisara has tons of it. So,
yeah, of course, you cannot let the pawn on f6 go. If the pawn on f6 goes, then white is losing, completely lost, because any strategical idea is not anymore working, any form of compensation.
You wonder why she didn't play rook d8 on the. Can she have played rook d8 on the previous move? Because okay, maybe now she's going to try for repetition.
Will white play for a win?
Yeah, so this is tricky.
Okay, black is trying not to repeat the moves. She's clearly taking some time here. Okay, king h7, maybe but now he's leaving a pawn hanging.
Yes, f3 is good because she wants like as many of her pieces protected as possible, basically. Okay, now she's got a double attack and she's basically winning another pawn. So white has again, done quite well for herself.
And just 5 seconds for white.
Maybe she'll win the a4 pawn too. She'll go like rook a5. And by the way, rook e7 is also an idea. She can plant her rook there. And yeah, like rook e7, yeah.
And you're threatening to promote. If rook takes pawn take, you're threatening to promote it because there is the
knight
fork
g5 check on rook a7. I mean, this is seriously like getting dangerous for black. But I mean, Vaishali, not a lot of time. It's hard. Knight g5, probably just do it. No, she didn't. I don't know. Yeah, knight g5 and maybe taking f7 was the way to go.
Yeah, now some idea for black. Okay, I like that white plays the rook on the b file because some idea could be a3 and then a rook on b2. And then this is problematic.
Really interesting. So she's trying to like advance that pawn going to c5. I mean, okay, like because there's multiple ideas for white. Definitely really interesting, but her time situation is so challenging, right? Like,
and here we see the problem of, oh my god, 2 seconds. Here we see the problem of the pawn on f6 for black, that the king had to use so much tempo to get inside.
Wow, look at that, like beautiful white pieces. f7 is under threat, king b5 is coming in. I mean, she is now, like, I think with Bibisara's time, like now it's pretty much an even game. Knight of 7. Wow, she's
knight b5 was winning a rook.
Yeah,
she went for the pawn.
But it looks good. It looks good. She's gonna play f7 and knight g6. Wow, she might just be winning this f7.
Yeah, just winning this. It's completely winning.
It. King d4, knight.
Now you can promote because there is knight d7. Yeah. Let's go.
Wow! Wow!
Impressive.
Wow, impressive. Like she had no time at all, and she just played so well. I mean, yeah, I mean, incredible. Actually, that she won this game. Like can we go back for a second just to see like how in the world did she get like such a powerful knight to g5?
Yeah, apparently, it seems like all this is correct.
Can we go back for like a move like, because like at the moment that she could have played knight d3 right away, right? So like somewhere here she could have just played knight d3. Like how bad was that? So I guess, I mean, she still would have sacked the exchange and played the same thing. Yeah, like knight
d4. It seems this is the same idea.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
But here, the difference is that black has time to bring the rook out. And then the king is not, the king can go to g8, and then the rook is not trapped on h8. So for example, if here you give a check, take,
yeah,
and the king can just go on g8.
Or g8, yeah.
and then the rook is not trapped, because in the other line the king couldn't conjugate because the rook would be completely trapped on h8.
Yeah, let's see how the game went. So
Yeah,
b4, knight e4, and then she took, like that. Yeah, so this was actually a pretty good version of this position, because now she was forced into the queen trade, and the king was a problematic piece. Yes, her rook was not as good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And a great end of the section with 5+1. And now we will have soon the section with 3+1.
Yeah, let's see who's going to have the advantage there. I mean, you would think that as it gets faster, like Bibisara should have the advantage with that. I think she does have the potential to be like the faster player. But I mean, so far, Vaishali has just been playing good chess, right? Like overall, the level of the moves has been very, very good.
Yeah, I'm super exciting. And I think we will go to a short break, and then we will be back for the 3+1. And this is getting just every time more exciting. The time is getting shorter, more interesting.
We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
It took him to fix with the draw when you have, well, oh my goodness, it happened right here on national television. Did you see that? Did you see that? Oh my goodness, wonderful. I'm hurt. Oh man. Oh my goodness, bro. I'm like, I hate chess. Wait a second. Oh, he found, yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Did you know you can watch top chess events right on your phone? You don't even need to download an app. Just open any mobile browser and head to chess.com/events. You can see what's happening right now, check out top games, see results, and so much more. Try it for yourself at chess.com/events.
Hi guys, welcome back to our coverage of the FIDE Women's Speed Chess Championship. This is the first match of the event between two young and very talented players, Bibisara Assaubayeva, the Women's World Blitz Champion from Kazakhstan, 18 years old, versus Vaishali from India, just a couple of years older than her. Let's take a look at Smarter Chess Stats by chessgolds.com, which predicted that Vaishali would lose this match by a point with 39% chances to win the match. But so far, we have seen Vaishali exceed those predictions. And at the moment, she is actually up in the match by 2 points, I believe. Is that right, Alessia?
Yes, we are 5-3. This means that Vaishali is doing way better than what predicted. She's leading by 2 points, and but it seems like Bibisara advantage is in the 1+1 section very evident. So I'm sure that this is we're going to see something going on, and I think the game already started. So we should definitely go in directly straight to them. We have a classical Queen's Gambit again. Bibisara is with the white pieces this time. And yes, we are going to see another very classical, again, the same idea as the game, I guess, the two games ago, game number 7, I guess.
Yes, exactly. They're having a repeat of that opening. So far, I think it's exactly the same. She played bishop h4 in that game. Will she take an f6 right away and then play b4? Perhaps. We will see. I mean, things are definitely speeding up as we get into the 3+1. So she played bishop h6. Okay. I wonder,
she wants to keep the bishop on the board. Also, the previous game she went for bishop h4, but now she's trying to change something.
Yeah, so black is still going to be playing knight g7, I think. I don't see why not. I guess she might want to take that knight on g7 so that black has no ideas of playing bishop f5. That's quite interesting. I wonder if both players have someone, on the sidelines who can talk to them during the break. If I was Vaishali, I would definitely want my brother around watching this match and
or a coach around.
Yeah. Okay. So bishop f8 by Vaishali. She's down a bit on the clock already. She traded the dark squared bishops. She still wants that knight g7, bishop f5 plan.
Yeah. And now white is going for the b4, b5 typical minority attack on the queen side, trying to make the pawns for black look strange. In the game 7 of the previous segment, we saw that white managed to have a good position, but then exchanged a bit too many pieces, and then actually the table turned. Black was having very active pieces, and eventually the game, after a very dramatic time trouble with chances for both sides, ended up in a draw. Are we going to see the same exciting hand game here?
Yeah, so she's definitely playing a bit differently, and she's also playing quite fast, baby Sarah. She definitely seems to have her opponent under some pressure. I mean, white wants to go knight a4, I think, pretty soon. Rook b6, I would say, is also an important. I'm sorry, well, not yet. Not yet. After knight a4 at some point, rook b6 maybe, or just some kind of invasion on the b file, maybe to b7. Depends on where black puts their knights, right?
Yeah, probably something like rook a1, knight a4 could be a way to move on for white.
Yeah.
But I guess what after rook a1, queen a8?
Yeah. I don't think white wants to trade too many rooks. I actually not as into rook a1, but knight a4. I think she just got to play it a little differently than she played it the first time around, keeping the rooks on the board, like rook fc1. If queen a8 here, then there's some kind of like knight b6 that you got to look at, or just knight c5. It's definitely unpleasant for black. I mean, it's a very annoying position to play, especially in blitz. I mean, at this point, white clearly has the initiative. Rook fc1.
White has
b3.
White pieces are basically in the dream square right now, and white can really just improve the last piece, the rook, and then should already try to check out for some maybe doubling the rook on the b file or on the c file could be an idea. Definitely the pawn on c6 is the target. Yeah, I like this idea. Knight d3, then you want to bring a rook on c1. Maybe you play rook b3, rook c3. And then who is protecting this pawn? Full pawn on c6.
She's got to go like knight e7, but it's just so super passive. And I don't know how she's going to hold that pawn like after rook b3.
Yeah, but then after rook b3, rook c3, there is even the knight on b4 that is going to attack the pawn.
Yeah. Actually,
it feels like
she just won the pawn.
Yeah.
Like a pawn is already hers.
Not even rook a6 could help, of course. So, okay, so can white now take the pawn, or is there any trick with rook c7? It seems like it's not yet, right? Because rook c7 looks strong.
Yes. So knight c6.
Maybe knight take first.
Yeah, knight c6, knight c6, knight c6, and then rook c7, right? And then you're going to have a problem with the pin. That's right. You don't want to do that. So she's thinking, she's thinking, I wonder if queen c5, like you don't really want to trade the queens that much at the moment. What else can there be?
Well, could you try maybe to bring
f3? By the way, c5 is kind of an idea now for black. Like black has already gotten that move in their sights. If they let black play c5, c4, I mean, black will be totally fine. So white actually needs to be careful about c5.
Yeah, that's true. Because of course this knight on e4. Oh, she took there. And rook b6. Look at this. We like this idea. Very nice. Now, I mean, rook here is still an idea, but probably you can just move the queen, I guess. This knight is pinned. The queen.
This is really complicated, yeah?
Okay. Oh, and now rook takes.
Okay, so now she's threatening knight e7. So probably like king g7. King g7, rook e7, queen c5.
Oh, queen c5 is very strong now.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like white just going to have an extra pawn.
Yes.
And
The extra pawn, I think here is a pretty good advantage, even if it doesn't seem like easy for white to create a passer. But the pawn on d5 is so weak that white might even be able to
95 is a
capture
good
it.
move. I wonder if she'll play rook c6 or rook c8. Okay.
Oh, the queen looked nearly trapped there. Right, the queen is getting
c6
attacked.
maybe. No, she doesn't want to trade the queens.
Oh my god, the rook is
Oh my
hanging.
god, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh wow, the rook is hanging. Crazy stuff. And it's still crazy. It's still totally crazy.
Is it going to end in a draw? Oh my god. King of two.
Oh wow.
Give a check on
Sarah
h1.
playing for a win. She's playing for a win. She really is. Look at that. It looks so dangerous for her.
What is this king doing? Oh my god, is she getting mated? Rook b7. No way.
Wow. Oh, she's not happy with that. She's not happy with that. She knows that was dumb.
No way.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.
Oh my. Oh my.
That was pretty crazy. That was just insane. Like she hung a rook, it wasn't taken, and then she didn't even want to draw. You know, that was a big win for Vaishali because that puts it at a 3-point difference between them. Wow.
And of course, here we see how important it is to be to have the advantage, because Bibi Sara kind of she had the draw, but she forced and she tried to play for a win there.
Yeah.
She didn't take the draw, and then of course this can backfire, especially when you have few time on the clock. Another Jobava London with c6 again. Let's see if Bibi Sara had really very tough position against this system. Is she improving something? Will she have some external help during the breaks to improve the opening choice?
Well, I think she's improving it by already improving her knight. She just moved it back to b8. And now she wants to go knight d7 and e5. Now, I do like that a lot more. As a plan, makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, maybe white will play e4 here, right? Yeah, there we go. I mean, because white needed to do something aggressive too. Okay, so takes, knight f6 or knight
f6 looks logical.
She needs some kind of a break.
Yeah, black
really
has
break with c5 yet, or an e5.
Yeah,
So
probably
now, of course,
one of those.
White's not gonna trade, but where is white's knight gonna go?
Yeah, because then the knight can get to d5, and then I start to like black position. Yeah, she took on f6.
Yeah, not because she wanted to, but because there were not
really good squares for the knight.
Yeah. And so now she wants to go like h4, h5, if given the chance.
Queen b6. So is h4, h5 going to happen? What is the idea of queen b6?
Well,
you want to play
she wants
c5?
to just play c5, but the thing is we're going to ignore it. h4 is c5, h5, bishop d4, and like c3, I think.
Bishop's
d4 and just c3.
Oh yeah. And after bishop goes back somewhere, maybe on g7,
then,
you can
you know,
just...
we're gonna like applaud ourselves that we've done our job to you know, open up the H file and mate them. So
yeah, this is how it should go. Bishop e5 is what white is doing, which is an idea to try to exchange the dark square bishop, and then to eventually go for h4, h5.
Okay, so she went for not like the most
classical plan.
Yeah, not yeah, it's an interesting move. I mean, it's fine, sure. Like the bishop and f6 is like the only dangerous piece that black has, or I think her move is totally reasonable. And the big difference in this position is like the light squared bishops. And for black, it's not so easy to develop it because even if you go to f5, you know, there's g4.
What do you think is now the approach of Bibi Sara? She's back 3 points. So do you think she will start to change a bit also openings, or she will keep playing her?
I think she's going to keep playing her openings. I do think so. for the moment. I mean, her openings are not like, I guess they're not going particularly well, but not like terribly, right? I mean, she made a little adjustments as white. She did have a really good game right now against Vaishali, even though she didn't manage to win, but it was a good game.
Yeah. And also with black, she improved this Jababa London with the idea of bringing back the knight and then going for e5.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's able to make like huge changes, right? She's in a tough situation, really, because so far Vaishali has like controlled the match more, you know, and I don't think there's a huge difference between them, but today I think Vaishali is just, you know, playing a bit better, prepared in maybe in a more tricky way, the openings. Certainly the opening advantage has been mostly on Vaishali's side.
Yes, and white still has some idea here to go for h4, h5. Even if the queens are off the board, still the king is can be vulnerable there. Imagine pushing all the pawns, then bringing two rooks on the h file. Oh, white is changing completely approach. We will not see h4, h5 probably, but rather a fight for the d file then.
Yeah, I mean, she simply has the control of the d file. It's actually a pretty nice situation to be in. A little bit more time. Better end game, you know. Yeah, bishop d5, sure. I mean, that's right, because total domination over the open file. She can afford to trade the bishops now, and it's annoying for black.
Yeah, and then eventually you want to place a rook on d7, and
maybe
yeah,
I was gonna suggest rook ac8 there for black, but okay, she went for this. King f8.
Yeah, now how is white improving the position?
So rook b7. Okay, a c4 I like.
Blocking all the pawns on the queen side. d8. Smart move.
Oh, rook d8 is coming, huh?
Maybe not because no, yeah, it can.
Yeah, rook d8 is definitely coming. Rook b7, good try.
Yeah, because now if rook d8, there is.
At least
is there rook take d8?
Yeah,
but you can take with the king still.
Yeah, but then you're still more passive because you can't get rid of my rook. So that's the thing. Okay, so she actually went for this. That means she's going to be worse. She's actually a bit down on the clock, and now white just starts playing king c2, king c3, a3, b4. And, you know, white is actually still better. It's still quite a big difference here.
Yeah, I think for white here is kind of very easy because white has so many moves that are slowly improving the position, getting a bit more space.
Maybe g4 even. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, she does g3. Rook
oh, she's now giving
so
the
she's
pawn.
Given up the pawn. Yeah, so she wants to go rook c6 and like
start to bring the king.
h6. Yeah. Okay, I don't know about that.
Okay, but now I like black
rook a3
approach.
Okay, so she saved her pawn. I mean, everything is stable, and her king is actually getting to e4. Yeah, takes, and then rook g3. Yeah, so she is still better. She's still up a pawn. King f3. A3. Yeah.
Definitely
B4.
A more active position. b4. Now white is trying to create a pass pawn.
They've got seconds, you know, so this is tough. Ooh, king d4 is now just getting winning for white. King e5.
Yeah, the king is too
very
active.
easy. Rook c3 and c5. Like, that's it. There's nothing to play anymore.
Yeah, this king is way too active and supporting the pawn. Like, it's so passive.
I think she just won the match, by the way. I think this game might have, I think maybe the last game kind of broke Bibisara, because, you know, now 4 points and like nothing has really gone her way since the first game of the match.
Yeah,
so I would be surprised,
of course we still have,
you know, yeah,
we still have 45 seconds, so 45 minutes, so still everything can happen. I won't be surprised if she manages to, I mean, if she gets 2 extra points, all right, she wins 2 games, she has already back, because in the bullet section really everything can happen.
Yeah, that's true. You can catch up a lot. Just somehow, you know, the feeling is the trend, right, is what I'm looking at. I mean, in terms of, is there opportunity for her to turn the match around? There definitely is, right? But the trend so far is really not going in her direction. And Yeah, so all right, they're repeating the game they had. I wonder if Vaishali is going to be able to improve that, because she didn't really have a great position that you wanted to play again. But here they are. They're still going down that way.
Well, it's different. There is a change because in the previous game we had Bishop F8, exchanging
She played
bishop.
knight G7 now.
Now knight G7, and so now we have a bit of a different position.
Okay.
So she keeps the bishop instead.
This makes more sense, by the way. Yes.
And now if b5, she can go for c5. This is a difference. Yeah, because
she'll play c5. C5, it's interesting, a little risky position.
Yeah, because there is an isolated pawn, no?
Yeah. Okay, so I think she got like this is a more reasonable version of this backwards pawn, because the bishop on d6 is actually a very important piece for black. It gives some sort of counterplay ideas, holds c5 square, holds e5 square, not allowing the knight to go there. So this is way better than what she got a couple of games ago. Bishop, can she go bishop d7, or is knight b6 a problem?
Yeah, it seems bishop d7 is.
Yeah, there was no issue with queen c6 yet, because there was bishop d7 winning. So the pawn was not actually hanging. Bishop a6.
Yeah, bishop take a6, and maybe rook b6 could be a thing. But you're exchanging. White is again exchanging maybe too many pieces. We saw that was not really okay. White went for rook a1.
Yeah, so okay, there will be a trade, I think, on d3 and knight e4. Okay, very logical by Vaishali. By the way, Bibisara is still playing faster, quite a lot faster. Has almost a minute more on the clock.
Yeah, very instructive that black managed to improve this structure by keeping the dark square bishop. And the difference is that this bishop is now covering the c5 and e5 square. In the previous game, the bishop was traded, and then it wasn't so easy for... We had two amazing knights for white on c5 and on e5. Instead, now this bishop on d6 is doing really well defending those squares.
Yeah, there's no knight b6 because the rook takes a1. Okay, so what does she want with that move? She wants knight b6 maybe at some point, rook a2 and knight c8, but Vaishali doesn't give that to her, so there's no more moving the knight anywhere. And yeah, she's a little tied down to that knight on a4, right? Notice, like, so if you can't actually put that knight on b6 or c5, it's not very good there.
Yeah. Is she going to bring another rook on the a file, trying to, but then c5 could be a move.
Yeah, c5 can be played at some point. Black has to be very careful with that move because it also exposes the d pawn, but white doesn't really have a threat here, right? So actually, what about rook a7?
I like it. Yeah. And this is happening now. Just nice.
Now trade off all the rooks, yes, which, as we know, like white is not going to be able to win when all the rooks are traded. I think she will trade them. She can do things. I mean, she can play, like, I don't know, move her queen somewhere, but why? Yeah, trade the rooks.
I think black should just play very solid here, because
queen a7. Yeah, but they've already had this type of position, and this is a nice version for black. So
yeah, we've seen that Bibisara can try crazy things in dry positions.
Yeah. Well, you can't try knight c3 now because of queen c4 just winning the knight. So you better be careful about where you move your knight.
Yeah, and again, we have black that is slowly, improving the position. Instead, white is not really, king g2, trying to avoid checks.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably going to have to play like knight c1 to d3.
Yeah.
By the way, queen c4 is sometimes an idea. Like, you can consider the queen trade and getting the pass pawn. I don't think she's going to do it, but it's something.
Yeah, right now black has just been waiting with the queen. f6 covering the e5 square. Maybe a knight can go to f4 and then e6.
Queen c4. She loves that square. Queen b3. All right, so still nothing bad happening for black, but you know, you have to be a little careful because you've opened your king a bit.
Yeah.
Actually,
King.
like, yeah, like white can make a way. Actually, if I had to pick someone who's going to win this game, I would definitely pick Bibisara because I can see like potential for her getting to the black king with queen b7. Yes, I don't like where this is going at all.
Yeah, now
a2 c4. Okay. Oh wow.
ooh,
Why did she do that?
now the queen got exchanged and black just has a pass pawn protected by the bishop.
That was really weird. Like, why did she trade the queens when she needed to use the queen to attack the black king? That was a strange decision.
Yeah, and also she had enough time.
G4 now, right? Like, is a possibility.
Yeah, now e4 maybe. Going to strike
Yeah,
back.
I mean, she's gonna take, right? The problem is the black's pawns are far away from each other, and the knight is not very good fighting against pawns like that. So on e4, you're gonna take, move the king. You have connected passers, but they're not that good. And the b pawn on b4 is a really big problem, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, king f5, you know, h4. I guess, you know, it's not easy for her to find a way to win as well. And she probably shouldn't try that hard. Although if she wins, okay, you know, it's going to be a 5-point lead. But she doesn't have much time to try to do it. And she might need to let Bibisara try to beat her and then win, right? Because Bibisara needs to win more if she overdoes it.
Yeah, and she's trying to bring a knight on e3 and then to d5.
Yeah, actually,
but attention, now f5 is coming.
Yeah, 5 is coming.
Ooh.
And she's way improving her position. Just won the pawn on d5. Actually, the game is like ending in white's favor. Wow.
Now this pawn can easily be stopped. There is the okay, both pawns can easily be stopped. The pawn on g3 by the knight and the pawn on b3 by the king. And now the pawns are just going. Yeah, too many pawns. Too many pawns. Okay, Bibisara, this might be a turning point of the match because winning this game is very, very important. Wow, white wins the game, and now there are just 3 points of difference between Vaishali and Bibisara. So let's see.
Strange game, by the way, that part, you know, where like white traded the queens and black was totally fine, but then somehow, wow, those pawns, you know, she should have traded on e4, right? But I was saying, you know, because she wound up losing that pawn for free later. She could have traded that pawn off and kind of played that position. But okay, it makes the match more exciting, right? We needed to get closer as we get into the bullet. So
yeah, this time we have an actual London system.
Oh, and it's played by Vaishali is white again.
Yeah.
So this has been, she's only tried e4 once in this match. It kind of worked out okay for her.
I think she tried the idea with queen d3 just once, and then she didn't want really to let Bibisara.
Then she realized that this London stuff was working so well that she really didn't need to like switch that. So I think it makes sense.
Yes, I want to start a chat poll. And let us know, guys, if you like the London system, write 1. If you don't like the London system, type 2. And London system is a very
what if you don't care? You don't have any preference.
If you don't care, write I don't care. I don't care. I am team I don't like the London system. I like e4 opening or the fight. You know, the attack, go for the king, sacrifice pieces. London system.
Someone said that was bad bishop management. Yeah, that was bad bishop management in that previous game by Vaishali at the end. But this game is turning out to be pretty interesting. White is going to take, I think, actually, she's thinking about what to take with, right? She can take either way. Pawn or bishop. Bishop is sort of the more normal one. I assume she'll take with the bishop. But pawn is also really interesting. Yeah. The queen g3. Yeah, and f3. Threatening f3 and queen g7.
Where is white going to castle? Short or long?
Well, white's not in a hurry, but white's going to castle long in this game, I think, at some point. Okay, so this is interesting. We don't have any sacrifices yet, do we? Like f3 and bishop.
I like the move e4 here. Than in trying to improve the position, because d4 is not really a thing, because this knight might get... Is d4 a thing? No, because the pawn is blocked. It's knight c3.
All great masters like Yuri Carlson and Pakleza play the London. Who's Pakleza? Is that Feruzia?
He's a grandmaster from Poland. A strong Twitch streamer also.
Oh,
He's
is he?
very famous.
Pakleza? That's actually a player?
Yes.
Oh, really?
They will clip you now, you know, for not knowing GM Pakleza.
How am I supposed to know him? Where is he? He's a grandmaster from Poland?
He's a strong grandmaster from Poland. Even Carlsen said that he's a very good player. Attention, Irina, you're in danger now.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's really a first for me that I don't know the name of a player. Like, I've never heard of this guy.
Oh, the Polish community is very defensive towards their heroes, and GM Pakleza is definitely one of the hero of the GM of the Polish community. But
right, so
I think they will forgive you. Don't worry.
Like, what? Tell me a fact about GM Pakleza.
He beat me in a match when he had just 1 minute and I had 5 minutes on the clock. So he's very strong. To beat me with just 1 minute on the clock, you need to be very strong.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
When did you play him?
I played it on stream at some point. But he streams on Twitch regularly.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm so ashamed now.
Don't worry. After this
grandmaster, like there's only like I don't know, like less than 1,500 of them in the world, right? So
yeah, it's not, don't worry, it can happen.
Okay.
But tomorrow we will be back for commentary, and you will go to check some videos about GM Pakleza.
I will. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I know his opening preferences.
Yes, exactly.
So let's see what's going on here. So Vaishali, she's doing really well again. She's got like totally the king side blockaded. So black's like ideas of attacking there are not going anywhere. And meanwhile, her situation on the queen side, like, I mean, white's going to play b6, right? We assume that move is going to happen. Like, it just got to happen. Oh, wait, no, can she take on, oh.
I like e4, opening it up.
Okay, sure.
You can't really push or take. I mean, taking would be a dream. F6, white is trying, black is trying f6.
Yeah, desperation, right? That's what it is. And
yeah, c3 is hanging. Ah, okay, can't really be taken because the queen, of course, is behind the bishop. So white has a beautiful position. But look at the time. We reached immediately a time trouble, and this position is very complicated. Black is trying to go for some idea against the f2 pawn, which is right now very well protected, but you never know. Now, is d5 just a lost pawn?
Yep, it was a lost pawn, and after pawn takes, rook takes bishop e6, there's rook d6. And her bishop on d7 is a real liability. I mean, I guess, yeah, so she tries that. Okay. I mean, nothing.
Maybe
really...
some bishop f5 and then e4, or f8 maybe. I mean, black gets some idea to complicate this. So bishop take f6. I love this move. Just removing the strong knight from g4, yeah. And now you can even maybe take on e5. Yeah.
Yeah, she could have also taken on f5 and then e5, but so she's not an exchange. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like trivial, right? Like whenever you're down material, even if you're winning, but when you got like 5 or 6 seconds, like anything can happen. So this is not a given at all. that she's
Yeah.
gonna win.
But this knight is having so many moves. And the
Yeah.
king, the problem is also, I think, the king. Oh my god.
Okay.
White is now going to attack the... Oh!
Rook
I thought the
A6,
rook
some
was...
kind of checkmates. Rook A6, Rook B6. Oh.
Yeah, now it's over because there is just...
checkmate.
Yeah.
Oh. Man, Vaishali with 2 seconds on the clock, she pulled it off. Look at that. So far, she's
Beautiful,
proving
mate.
to be a very good blitz player.
Beautiful, beautiful game. I mean, we are just halfway in our 3+1 segment. So we are still going to see some nice games here. And we have a change. It was a Nimzo Indian this time. Vaishali is changing opening approach.
Yep. She changed her opening for like, she was sticking with the Queen's Gambit decline for quite a while. So this position is more typical with a white knight on F3. I'm trying to think of what the differences are. Okay, well, it gives white this plan of E4, which I rather like. I mean, sure, go E4, bishop E3, you have the 2 bishops. Actually, I like this position for white.
Yeah, when you get the center, bishop pair.
Yeah, I mean,
and mostly in the Nimzo, the compensation is that there are the pawns doubled on the c file, c4, c3. But in this line, there are not even. So because there was already d5. So I think white has a very good, very pleasant position. Ooh, no, I don't like this. What if d5?
Yeah, d5 is just a nice positional advantage for white. Like, right, there's not really any compensation for the 2 bishops and the space advantage. So this opening has worked out perfectly for Bibi Sara. Hopefully she can capitalize on it. Knight e7. So, okay, her dream here is going like knight e8 to d6. So she's definitely going to play that. But white has f4 ideas, right? So, yeah, so she tries to stop that first. F4.
Yeah, and white is doing this.
Yeah, bishop on b7 is pretty bad.
I'm wondering how white can go on. Mostly you want to create
lots of ideas like g3, okay, yeah, there's like, she can play on both sides of the board. Actually, that's what she's showing, a4. So she wants to play a5. It's fine. It's a fine idea.
When you have space advantage, mostly attacking on 2 sides is actually going to work very well, because your pieces are very fast to go from one side to the other due to the many squares you have. Instead, black pieces are all having very few squares, and so they are not so easily going from one side to the other. So it can be a very effective strategy.
Yeah,
and for now, she's focusing on the queen side.
Yeah, so Bibi Sara kind of didn't go for this f4 idea, and I have to tell you, I think I would have played more for that than for this queen side play. And
what is the h pawn doing? h5, h4 is just going to say
it's positionally useful, but right now there's a very specific problem with pawn takes b6 hanging, and she has to go like bishop b7. Right, which is a very ugly move to have to play, but I think she has to do it. Yeah, and then white will go like rook b1 and start putting pressure on b6. Actually, okay. I mean, I like Bibi Sara's position, just rook b1 here.
Yeah, just putting pressure.
Rook b1 threatening rook b3, and b6 pawn will fall. So very unpleasant position for black.
Yeah. Yeah, this position are always very tough to play because you need to just defend. You don't really have active resources. The point here, even if you try to play f5, actually white has more pieces on the king side. So your break is just helping white more. So you cannot try to go for some bishop c8, f5. e5 would also be a very weak pawn.
Yeah, why not just go like rook a b3? Okay, so she went knight c3. That's fine. Does she want to go knight a4? Actually, I think she might want to go knight a4 at some point. Yeah, she's gonna crash through on that b6 pawn. That's the, oh, she just blundered. Pawn takes b6 and the rook on a8 is hanging.
Oi, oi. Okay, she takes with the rook, but
Yeah,
still
but
you
it's
can.
a positional blunder, right? Because it just weakens the pawn on c5 and
Yeah, but you lose it, no? Knight a4 is followed by.
yeah.
Why
Yeah,
not
I mean,
knight a4 immediately?
I think here, like everything wins, right? Like
That's true.
Queen a3 will win too, you know?
Yeah.
The pawn is gone. So Bibi Sara is gonna take this one, I think, pretty convincingly. Bishop f1.
Here you
And-
don't want to give away your bishops.
Yeah.
Especially you don't want to give away the dark square bishop because he's attacking c5 right now, so it's very active.
So
Knight a4 and then you win the pawn. Yes, this is.
we got our member in our chat saying, I have a question. Do any of you have an experience with chess making them smarter in other things in life? I don't know who is the them that Three Boos is talking about. But in general, guys, I think chess is very useful in life. Certainly helps with like the logical thinking and being able to put things together.
Yeah, but I also suggest not to play chess with the goal to get smarter in life, but rather to try to enjoy the game and have fun. The rook is now capturing the pawn on b6, and then also c5 is falling apart. Okay, this position is just over. Yeah. Oh, you have rook d6, queen takes, and then the bishop on c8 is hanging. Also, bishop take c5, very good. Okay. She went for this, now she has an extra piece, and I think black can resign here. The black tries to use all the time, of course, because she's in advantage. 3 points to separate the two players. 3 points ahead for Vaishali. Now we have another London system again. She likes definitely this opening. Let's see what Bibi Sara. This time Bibi Sara goes for c5. I like to play a bit more aggressive towards the London. I like this line with c5. Will she go also with queen b6 ideas?
Yeah, so now I've played CD, D, bishop f5 as black. Oh, there we go. So Bibi Sara goes for my line, and yeah, they play like e6, c4, something like that. Pawn takes c4, I think. It's interesting. So people like Kasparov and Karyakin are golden examples that you don't need to be a genius to be best at chess. Well, it's interesting that you make Kasparov as an example, because I mean, Kasparov is a person with extremely high intellectual capabilities. It's pretty obvious, right? Like you can, sort of agree or disagree. Yeah, agree or disagree with how he applies them and what he chooses to focus on. But I don't think there's anyone that would ever say that like Kasparov is, a person who is just good at chess and that's like the only talent he has. Like this is a person, like if he decides to apply his mind to other things, like he would be exceptional in any field, like Carlsen, right? So these are not people of like average intellect at all. So I'm just curious why you put them, for example, in the same category when it's clear, that Kasparov is extremely, bright-minded person. Yes. I mean, I don't have so much to say about Sergey because honestly, I just haven't heard him as much. I mean, I understand why you put him in that category, but I mean, I haven't like really interacted with him. But someone like Kasparov, he's done a lot of interviews and things like that. So yeah,
but mostly, I think that he kind of puts together because he doesn't agree with what they do or the way they apply their intelligence. I mean, I'm talking at least about Kasparov, of course. Yeah. And so he doesn't agree with some things, and so he put them together. But I definitely agree with you, Irina, about what you said with Kasparov.
Yeah, he's well, in general, I think like all the world champions, like it's, of course, when you focus on chess, you spend so much, time on it. It's like, well, it's hard to excel at everything. But like when I see people like Kasparov and Carlsen, right? Like it's just very clear when you listen to them that they have, you know, good minds, right? Like good raw material. In general, I think that's something that chess helps you have, right? Like what you do with it is definitely up to you, but like chess helps you develop just the raw potential of your mind. So yeah. All righty. Well, back to
chess.
I'm done defending Kasparov. You know, we go back to this position. So what do we have?
You would be a good lawyer. No?
Yeah. You're saying Casper would be a good lawyer, or
you will
be me? I could be the Camille Vasquez.
Exactly.
To his Johnny Depp.
Yes, the next Camille Vasquez is here.
Yeah. Oh no, actually, you know, it's funny, Alessia, like when I was a kid, one of my, like, I thought I could actually grow up to be a lawyer, you know?
Really?
Yeah, that was definitely something that was always like, I mean, I always liked that, like the reasoning, the logic, the arguments, the search for the truth, you know, all of that. And I guess that's why I stayed a chess player, because there's no more like pure field than chess. So, I mean, maybe there's comparable fields, but chess is pretty good for those things.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy you found a field where you can use your brain as you want to.
Yeah, chess is a beautiful game. I'm definitely really happy that I have spent my life in it, you know, and I feel lucky that my life has gone like in that direction.
Nice.
What about you, Alessia? Are you like, what do you kind of do in your main activity?
I'm a chess streamer, so my life is also, I mean, I would say that when you're streaming chess, your life is not just focused about chess, but also about memes, jokes. I'm a bit a clown. But I'm happy to make people
How long have you been
happy.
Streaming?
3 years, 2 years.
Nice. Oh, wow.
3 years.
So since like the pandemic started.
Oh, earlier. I was
Earlier
ordered in the pandemic.
It's like, I still need to get started on that.
And, oh, yeah. I mean, you're a great commentator.
Every time.
You'll definitely do very well. I'm sure you have a lot of fun. You're already in the chat that they like how you crash your opponent.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, if I become a lawyer, I guess I'll have a few clients, right? Like,
also.
But okay, so we got 6 pawns for each side, and we got Vaishali with like a huge initiative. Black is not.
Oh my god, the rook is hanging on b1. Hello.
Oh, wow, they're getting really tired, I think.
But no, there is actually the trick.
Oh, it's
can't take because f7.
F7. Wow.
Oh my god.
Rook b7, I guess she has no time. And also bishop e5 is a threat. Bishop e5, pawn takes queen d2. I think she just kind of blundered bishop e5, right? Like, or maybe even just,
yeah, just 4 seconds for Wyatt.
Bishop e5. Okay, she took on d4.
I take g6.
Right. She's still doing really well. h3. Yeah. So she lost a pawn. This part of the game hasn't gone great. She has no time. By the way, you know what I decided? I was like, I kind of want this match to get closer, so I'm just going to stop talking about the games. I think it'll go better for Bibi Sara if I just, you know, talk about random things until she gets a few more points, and then we get back into the games, because we've been focusing on the chess and she's just been losing. Right now we kind of stopped and she just won, right?
That's true, and this is what is happening. She's now just 2 points far away. And one thing that we need absolutely to consider is that playing so many games and with so few time control requires really a huge investment of energy.
Yes.
And so the players might get tired and start to play less precise, and so everything can happen. So now we will need to see also who between the two players has the best endurance.
Yes. Yeah, no, these things, the Speed Chess Championship, it grew out of something called the death match. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that's how it initially started on chess.com. There were these 3-hour death matches where you would just play 3 hours of chess in a row. And I think it was like maybe even an hour of bullet. But
wow.
I played one of those matches once against Nadezhda Kasintseva. It was actually my only death match, and I managed. I think I won that match, and like by winning my last couple of bullet games. So like I was losing, and I like came back from behind. It was kind of amazing, and it was amazing, amazing experience. Like, yeah, you really have to give all of yourself to play 3 hours of nonstop chess. So you get tired, guys. It is absolutely a test of stamina.
I love the knight on f5 here. It's a beautiful piece. It's also supported by the bishop here. And it seems like Bibi Sara is now, you know, getting better positions.
Yeah, it's interesting what she's gonna play now. She's just gonna, I would just play b5 and like not think too much, but I guess she doesn't want to give up the c5 square. I don't know what else she can really do, right? Like,
yeah, because the a3 is not possible. The rook on a1 is unprotected.
well, she's
And
thinking about knight d5, Alessia. That's what she's thinking about. There is a move to think about. It's knight d5.
Oh, she just went with
wow,
bishop
stacking.
b2.
Nice. Okay, pawn takes.
That's your idea, knight d5. Of course, after a pawn take, the knight wants to go on d5. And then you have one beautiful bishop on b2s that is working very well together with the knight. With the two knights, you're attacking the bishop on e7. So basically, black is forced to take here, but after pawn take, the bishop on e7 is really not having a good time. So this is really very, very interesting. I love this bishop b2 idea.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. The knight is really effective there. Okay, knight f4. Okay.
The problem of the knight on f4 that this is not such a stable knight because it's not supported like the knight on f5 was by a pawn. So queen f3 can be just moves forcing the knight to go back.
I wonder. So she took that bishop. Okay, and then she just makes a calm move. I don't know how strong that was. Maybe c6. Is there a c6 move here? Because she might need something like that. She needs to watch out for that knight d5 leap. So c6 makes sense to me. It weakens the d pawn a bit, but you know, you probably need to go like d6 and bishop e6. I think it seems playable. Is she really going to do something else? Like, what else could she do? Bishop e6 right away. Knight d5 is annoying looking. I don't know. What do you think, Alessia? c6 or not? Nope. Oh, wow. What's that?
She's going for some ideas with queen h5, h4 maybe.
Wow. I mean, what about just h3, knight e5, bishop
or just
f1?
queen f3?
Wow. Okay, so there's some tactics here actually in the position. I don't know. h3 is the obvious move, right? But there is knight e5. And
attacking the bishop moves on f1.
There's you know, queen g5. There's like stuff happening on h3. So actually, black is developing an initiative.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, white is playing queen f3. Not touching any of the pawns. Now the knight on f4 is under attack. And how do you defend with queen and just knight g6? Now h3 has the problem of knight d5.
Yeah. Knight d5 looks good. Knight d5. I mean, that's why I really wanted her to play c6. Okay, so now maybe bishop b3. Or yeah, bishop b3 I kind of liked. Okay. But
I also like queen g3, maybe going for h3, f4, or just getting some space.
Good move.
But of course, your bishop b3 is prophylactically moving
same idea, just to get out of the fork. But yeah, queen b3 gives more ideas even. So knight e3.
c6 happened. Your c6.
Yeah, a little later than I wanted, you know. But okay, knight e3. I mean, still nice advantage for white. But you know, pawn takes b4. She's gonna trade on a1, develop the rook.
A bishop e6, then maybe d5.
Yeah,
even.
you know, like black is not doing so badly. This is the thing, you know, that like I don't feel like white has really gotten the maximum from this position, and then this amount of time, now you're not going to get the maximum, because if you haven't done anything yet and you're under 20 seconds, the game is out of control. So there's no more advantage to on the board to speak of. It's just random E5 and D5. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Queen
it's a pity
E7.
that white exchanged the bishop pair. I would have tried to keep it longer.
Knight F4. No, Knight F4 blunders checkmate, so you don't want to do that. Yeah.
But not really. No, okay, there are some tricks still. F4, F5, or maybe, okay, King H1 first.
Yeah.
There are some ideas.
I mean, it still feels like maybe easier to play as white, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
because G7 is always an important
and that's why I was
target.
saying that she could go to E7, right? Because it seems like she had some weaknesses on that side that she wanted to protect. Okay, now I like
H4, H5.
Black's position again. Yes, I like the queen on D7.
Maybe rook E5, rook G5. Of course, you have to be careful about E2. You don't want to get a fork there. So the rook shouldn't leave the... Yeah, bishop E2 attacking the knight. We have 6 versus 4 seconds. Is there a check on E8? Yeah, but it's not really followed by any move. C3 protecting the pawn.
Yeah, knight G6, nice and solid.
And
okay. So they're kind of repeating.
Yeah, Black has just once really few times.
They have so little time. I don't even know how they're
There
playing.
might be some rook E5 winning the pawn. Or not.
Knight E6.
Oh, 1 second. Oh my god. 1 point.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we have a rook hand game suddenly. The rook is behind the pawn, so this is very good for Black.
She's actually better now.
Yeah, this
actually a lot better. Oh man.
No, the pawn cannot be stopped anymore. It's over.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, Bibi Sara is gonna be so sad about that. You see, the moment we start looking at the game, she starts losing again. That's terrible. Oh. I
think she gets the pressure. Okay, we have again a London system. I think that with the poll before, we noticed that more people don't like the London system, right, guys? I think the two were quite big. You didn't like the London system. Okay, there is a difference. So we have a London system with C4, so a bit less.
Yeah, that game was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first game was really crazy.
She's holding her own in these seconds, right? Like I thought she would struggle with that more. Especially given that Bibi Sara is like the world Blitz champion. I mean, it means that, she's good in those final seconds, but in this match, like Vaishali is just fine there.
Yeah, I saw chat asking who is the prodigy, because of course there are two very young ladies here, and one of them, believe it or not, is the current Blitz World Champion and is Bibi Sara, international master force from Kazakhstan. And yes, instead we have the 18-year-old Vaishali that is doing extremely well against the current Blitz World Champion, and leading with 9 points versus 6 for Bibi Sara.
Yeah,
King on E2.
Yeah, she has a better pawn structure in this game, Vaishali. So again, pretty nice opening for her.
Yeah, and for the fun of the Bon Cloud, because we have to mention that was the King on E2. That is the opening promoted by the biggest chess streamer, Hikaru Nakamura. It was a forced Bon Cloud. It wasn't really a wanted Bon Cloud. Wait, what happened? There was King D1. The king was forced to move like this. Okay. Have you ever played a Bon Cloud in your life, Irina?
No. I like to have my king castle.
Will you ever play the Bon Cloud?
I'm willing to play online chess, I think.
Well, online chess is not synonymous of Bon Cloud. Don't worry. You can also play good openings.
How old is Assaubayeva? Assaubayeva is 18, and Vaishali, I don't know exactly when her birthday is. She's either she's like 20 or 21, right? So still very, very young. This is like an age at which you're still improving. And I'm sure she's going to be a part of India's team at the Olympiad. India's going to have a very strong team. I mean, they're the hosts of the Olympiad. They're going to have, I mean, if they have all their best players, it's going to be Humpy, Harika, Vaishali. That's a really strong, I mean, they have Tanya Sachdev. Actually, India will be definitely competing for medals, which I don't think the women have won a medal in an Olympiad before, although they've, had a pretty strong team for a while now. So maybe this is going to be a breakout year for them.
And I can imagine that even their second team, because mostly the country that is hosting the Olympiad has two teams playing, also the second team will be extremely strong for India. There are
also
so many
Kazakhstan
talented
will be
players.
a strong team, with Abdul Malik and Assaubayeva. Right?
Also, United States will be very strong.
Yeah,
with Irina Crash.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Carissa, I'm looking forward to her match with Hao Yifan. Is that tomorrow, Alessia?
No, it's not tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow, but that match is gonna be good. So yeah, it's gonna be her first time playing on the Olympiad team with us, and we have two new players in the U.S. Women's Olympiad team. We got Carissa and Begim Tohirjonova from Uzbekistan, who now is studying in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So joining the team for the first time.
That will be interesting. By the way, when we don't talk about chess, you're right. You found a way. Bibi Sara actually has more time, and as a good center, this pawn on d5, e4 are really pressing on white position. Ideally, Black would like to bring a knight towards c4 without exchanging it, I would say. Just placing the knight there.
It's actually quite nice. The knight on d2 is passive, right?
Yeah.
So, and by the way, there's back rank checkmate ideas, right, with queen e1. So now it's pinned. Yes, I definitely like Black. Like white is very passive in this position, and
and the most dangerous thing is
right, free pawn. Pawn takes knight d6 is a free pawn. So she's hoping she can survive this, but we're gonna see.
They say that knight endgame is very similar to the pawn endgame in terms of deciding if you want to go for it.
Wow.
So,
bring in the king. All right.
I think f5 could be a good way, yes. And then, but how do you bring the king? The king might want to go to b5, the black king. Or is it too much?
No, yeah, it makes sense. Although, look at this. Oh, I like the idea of knight
towards d1
somewhere.
So that king f2 cannot protect.
I like,
the pawn.
look, Alessia, I like king f4, king f6, and knight e2 checkmate. I really like that.
Oh yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! This is the threat. She's going back. No, I mean, sorry. I mean, I'm impartial, but I mean, for a beautiful checkmate with a knight.
Yeah.
Well,
like
I'm not impartial there.
Also, by the way, knight a2 just wins another pawn, right? So she could just go knight a2 and like win another one. But she's gonna win it, I think, with knight c1, knight d3. I would have done it the other way. I think I would have just taken it. See, now she has to work harder to win it. So that didn't make a lot of sense.
5 seconds for Vaishali. Knight a2 with idea of knight c3, but now knight b1 is blocking the idea.
Yeah, like if she doesn't win this game, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
Yeah, with just 2 seconds.
She has such a big time advantage.
Yeah,
I'm sad. Like, I think she's not winning this pawn. How in the world did she not go and win it? Like, it was.
Also, she needs to be careful about knight a4 attacking b6.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed.
No. This is going to be the king cannot avoid repetition without leaving one pawn hanging.
She had so much time. Oh
yes, it's just a draw by repetition. Maybe Sarah decided not to
just show that moment, like where she could have won the pawn. It was just a free pawn.
Yeah, so here yeah, exactly here.
Right, like just go knight a2, like after king g3, right, knight a2.
Yeah, the pawn has to push. There is no way to protect it anyway, and then you go back on c3.
Right. I mean, it just is a free pawn, and then you have the same position.
Yeah,
it could have been
user.
Could have been
You gotta
still
take it.
2 points difference.
I think
Now it's
she
still
just
3.
thought she had it also in the other way with a check. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, this is unfortunate because we are going, guys, in the bullet section with a difference of 3 points. Will BB Sara be able to strike back? That's the question that
It's totally possible. I mean, in bullet, you have 30 minutes of bullet. It's a lot of time to turn things around, and things going real fast, right? So 3 points is not insurmountable at all. And so stay tuned, guys, to see if Assaubayeva can pull off a comeback in this final portion.
You know why?
This is going to be a real-time breakdown of Danny Wrench's games all time on chess.com.
That's cool. Oh! In the last month, I am playing 83.12.
I'm less accurate than them in every stage.
Yeah.
Man, that stings a little
You
bit.
should
Okay.
do the more game review.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so
Tuesday sucks. I gotta stop playing chess on Tuesday. Oh, it's because it's Title Tuesday.
Look how many blunders there were back in December 2020. And now December 2021, 1,600. Don't look at this number. look at this number. Best.
Let's go to tactics. Mates. I'll probably need to work on these ones. Yep.
Every single rook fork that has presented itself to me, I have found. No one has a higher percentage of rook forks than I do. Yes, correct.
These are literally the knight forks that you missed.
I missed knight d6?
You saw it just now.
What the is wrong with me?
I could have done here and then taken this pawn, and I'm winning because my pawns get held together. That's probably the coolest part about this feature.
Like these positions against Hess? Rook there for rook e2. And he blunders mate in 1. Oh my goodness. I'm awful.
Hey guys, we're back for the bullet portion of the Women's Speed Chess Championship brought to you by FIDE and chess.com. So really exciting match so far. We got the world Blitz champion, Assaubayeva, against one of the top rising talents in India, the older sister of Pragnananda, Vaishali. And so far, Vaishali has been looking really good in this match, but it's still within striking distance for Assaubayeva. She's 3 points down as we go into the final 30 minutes of bullet. Let's take a look at the stats. The Smarter Chess Stats brought to you by chessgoals.com indicate that Assaubayeva was the pre-match favorite based on their chess.com blitz and bullet ratings, but only by a very little bit. The predicted score is that Assaubayeva wins the bullet by 1 point. Well, if that's what happens, it will not be enough for her to win this match. So she's got to do better than that.
Yeah, but in bullet, it's really important how the match is going. So I think that everything is possible. If Bibisara finds the way to get good results against Vaishali in bullet, she has the possibility to win the match. So I love bullet because everything can happen. I know there's I was looking shortly the chat, many people say, oh, it's not chess bullet. Well, actually it can be very exciting. So I'm curious to see how this will go. And before starting with the games, I want to say hello to our friends from Anna Maya channel that I saw. She's doing a watch party, so she's watching us on her channel. Hi, Anna Maya.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right, so we got a King's Indian type of position. Looks pretty good for black. I mean, white has no real play on the queen side. Black has already advanced quite far, so they can take and play f3, I suppose. Take or just play knight f6 here. I don't know what she's gonna go for. Probably knight f6. Yeah, there you go. And black will go g5, h5, g4, and actually looks to be in pretty good shape, despite the fact that they traded off the light squared bishops, which they normally don't want, but they're getting in g4 pretty easily.
Yeah, I like to see that they're changing a bit opening approach, because bullet is so much different. And this is bullet where the 1 second increment actually makes a difference, because in bullet most of the time you can get flagged, even in a completely winning position. Inside here, if one of the two players manages to get in a completely winning position, well, they're going to win, even if they have 1 second on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, right now it still looks pretty nice for black. They got the knight to h4. Maybe white goes queen f2, tries to kick out that knight. No. Okay, so white has made progress on the queen side. I do like this move rook b3 quite a bit. Okay, so she does try to get rid of the knight before black can like go g3, and the knight goes back. All right.
It seems like white managed to stop the black's idea on the king side, but I have to say this looks always so scary to play for white, because if you lose a pawn,
a weird move, right? Like she stepped away, I guess, from g3.
Oh, the knight is going back on h4, yeah. And we have 16 versus 15 seconds.
So where is the advantage here for black that the engine is telling us about? I don't know.
Well, maybe a rook on g2, queen on h3, something like yes. Bringing all the pieces.
Yeah, she needs to
3 seconds.
That. Okay, she doesn't see it yet. And she has 4 seconds, which is not a lot.
That's a free pawn. Okay, b7 is hanging, and now the 8th rank might be weak. Rook g8, queen d7.
Wow. Okay, she lost a pawn.
Oh, she lost.
Man, this is sharp.
Yeah, crazy.
Queen
okay,
H3.
The king now is on the 7th rank.
Well, queen h3, there's rook a8, but okay.
Rook a1 now.
Rook a1.
Oh, the check was
she should have thrown in that check.
Yeah.
Queen g7, queen g7. Ooh,
where is this knight going?
The rook is blundered on b8.
Ooh.
Okay, oops. No one bothered to take it. They're just playing instantly. Someone should have taken that.
I think Bibisara now will go for a win. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's up a rook, so she's totally winning. Knight h3 at some points. Okay, game over.
Yeah, game over.
All righty. Wow. Okay, so
but Vaishali is trying to prolong it because she wants that the time gets short, as she's 2 points ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She wants to prolong it. So that's just not her who don't wanting that, not that she doesn't want to resign, but is that she needs to prolong it as much as she can.
So this was not a great, like, sort of, she needs to play a little faster, right? I think if it keeps going like this, she will lose her lead. Right now her position looks pretty nice with this opening.
Yeah. This is a London system. The bishop got exchanged on f4, which is not the most typical. Mostly the bishop goes to g3, but Vaishali goes for an attack. Goes for maybe knight e5, maybe even g4, g5. Castling on the...
Interesting that her opponent did not play bishop a6. So now the bishop on c8 is not amazing. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have played this way. So now Vaishali has a pretty nice attacking position.
Yeah,
maybe
now g4, my idea
yeah.
g4, g5 looks really actually something
G4
possible.
and just mate. Just
go for it. You gotta go. Especially in bullet, initiative makes such a difference. Because even if something is not really correct, yeah, you miss one move and you're mated. And this
she's trying to give away the pawn. It makes sense to try something like that. I think I completely agree with Bibi.
So you mean that after the exchanges, e5 might be lost?
I mean, just bishop takes e4 right now, just like taking the pawn.
Yeah,
but she doesn't take it.
She goes for the attack. I like this approach.
Yes.
Yeah, now white is not in a hurry to castle, but white will definitely castle long and bring another rook to the g file, then maybe take on h6, and this position looks really painful for black.
Yeah, knight d4, pawn takes h6. I mean,
attention that the pawn on f4.
Yeah, maybe, well, she can't go queen g4. There's like e5.
Yeah. So she's taking on e4, but this gives black some possibility. Because then the bishop is getting acting on b7. Attention here, there is a possible skewer.
Still looks pretty good. Still looks like she's breaking through to g7. Okay, check.
Oh my god, this is mate.
Yeah, what was she doing? I don't really know why she didn't try to stop that. Checkmate. Oh man.
Okay, so we have Baby Sarah playing with the white pieces, and we have pairs. No, not really pairs yet. Let's see if g6. We have a strange pairs.
It's actually looking like a Zamish King's Indian.
Yeah, very strange opening. But of course, players wants to just reach in position and play. The opening is important, but not too important. Important is to bring out the pieces and play good moves later. You don't like the move f3. Yeah, it's a bit slow, but you need to build up the position.
Yeah. So I mean, okay, like it's fine for black from a practical point of view. You know, just castles. Okay, she wants to try to play for b5 at some point.
Yeah, I think the players needs to also always look for a move like f4.
I mean, b5 now is also interesting, but yeah, then the queen on a5 might hang. Okay, castles make sense. If she can always go knight e8 to c7.
Oh, is white playing b4?
Okay. So.
Oh, now there is bishop. And is there c5 or something? Ooh.
Yeah, c5 would be nice, and I think she will have that move. So it looks pretty good for Bibi Sarah at this point.
Oh yeah, white is now really going for it. Yeah, I love c5. I'm just taking with the bishop. This knight is pinned. I mean, even d6 knight. I mean, you never want to push the pawn, but just this position already castling, bring a rook on the c file looks really good.
Yeah, this is pretty ugly.
Yeah, the pawn on e5 is hanging, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if you needed to take it because it kind of opens up the bishop on g7. But again, she's got a time lead.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's pretty important.
Maybe Sarah needs to bring this point at home. I mean, she got this tactic. This is interesting. The piece on e5 is hanging.
Maybe bishop f8.
Yeah, now the rook on f8 is hanging. That's the problem. And so we have white with an exchange up. Black is trying to create a pass pawn just to be sneaky and dangerous. I think rook d1 just protecting the pawn. 19 seconds versus 6 seconds here.
Bishop d6 and rook c6 was an interesting move.
Attention, the rook is hanging.
Yeah.
In this rook, we saw many rooks falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a sneaky idea.
Right. How about bishop b5, bishop e1, rook e8, but then it's like some drawn endgame. Wow. So white is like losing their advantage, by the way. This has gone completely off the rails for white.
Oy, oy, oy.
Like I can see back rank checkmates. Like, wow.
Yeah, you cannot take here. And now the two rooks are very passive.
Oh yeah. Okay, now things got a bit better. Okay, for white.
There are always a problem on the first rank.
Okay, I mean, white's not going to lose, but white's also not necessarily going to win.
Okay, maybe king on e2.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. Okay. Rook c1. Okay, she's got things under control, I would say. She wants to get a rook trade.
Yeah, but with a pawn down, with a pawn to compensate the exchange, it's really not easier to do something. The only weakness is the pawn on g6, but how is white going to avoid the checks and attack with two rooks that pawn?
Oh, Vaishali. She decided not to repeat, but I think this is a draw. Yeah, they repeat.
Yeah, she wanted to prolong the game. I think she wanted a draw, but she wants to prolong the game.
All right, 3 points still difference. Okay.
And we have 19 seconds. This means that we can have up to 6 games, something like this. So everything is still possible. In bullet, you just need to win a bunch of games after each other. And Vaishali is going again with the same idea of the Jababa London with the knight on b5. Now she will go. Okay, she's changing one more time. The knight on c7, on e8, d6.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yes. And eventually the knight will
that knight moved around a lot in this game, but it actually worked out okay.
Yeah, maybe it will end even on e4 now. Oh, the other knight goes on e4.
Yeah. Okay, so this position I like for her, like, because she doesn't have any bad pieces anymore.
Yeah, every piece is perfectly placed, and maybe she can even try to go for rook e8 and e5 eventually, because now that she doesn't have the pawn on c5, d5 is well protected. So, oh, a6, okay.
Yeah, so it's funny. Mr. Monopoly asks, would Irina likely win this event if she plays? So I can answer that question to you very realistically. No, there's like pretty much no chance, I think, for me to win this event. I'm not really that awesome of a blitz player. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I can surprise myself and do better. So I wouldn't say like I'm hopeless in blitz. You know, I've had some good results as well, but in general,
you played Title Tuesday?
You know, I don't. Yeah, not so consistently. Like only once in a while. And in general, I think to be a good blitz player, you need to kind of make that regular part of your life kind of growing up, and like I think like someone like Kostyniuk, played a lot of blitz, and so she's a very good blitz player. So for me, it's like, it's a bit more hit or miss, and in general, I don't consider myself a blitz specialist, and I think you kind of you need that to win an event like this, right? Like so I'm fine on the commentary side, but I enjoy playing blitz, and I always really like the World's Rapid and Blitz Championships that are held at the end of the year. So we'll see. Like last year, I didn't get to go to Poland. I was actually doing commentary on chess.
That's why you didn't know Gianpa Kleza, you see?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But we'll see where the tournament is this year, and maybe I'll get a chance to go, or maybe I'll just be commentating on it here, which I really enjoyed. It was like a great way to finish up the year. So this year, Carissa Yip is the American player who got like the wild card entry into the Speed Chess Championship. I thought it was a very, very good choice. Give her a chance to play. She is.
Oh my God! Bishop c7. The queen didn't have a square.
Oh.
Oh no,
maybe she had c8.
F6.
Yeah.
Okay, but white
Alright.
is winning a pawn, of course. Now, is there any tactic? Oh, you can take everything and then knight e5? Oh my god.
Okay, so they have no time. Wow, Vaishali, no time.
Yeah, 2
She's opened
seconds.
up- Wow,
She
seems to
made
be
so
winning.
good. She did. Oh, please, not queen g6.
Oh,
Okay.
queen h5, queen h5. Oh, bishop e5. All
This
right,
is
so
so
she's
good.
doing well. She's doing well. G3, you know, somewhere G3. Like she'll probably do some move like that somewhere.
Oh, this is mate. Queen E.
Oh wow,
Queen
she's
B-
mating.
yeah.
Well, that's a big game. That is a big game. She anything she wins in this bullet is so valuable now, you know.
Yeah. Now, I mean, basically, Bibi Sara needs to win them all. I mean, we have 15 minutes remaining, which means that, well, could play something like, I mean, with the +1 increment is very tricky because basically every 30 moves, you get an extra minute. So if the game is 60 moves, then you have 4 minutes. So, I mean, you have you have 4 games. So she needs to win them all. If she wins them all, she goes to the tiebreak, which is a 4-game tiebreak. So she needs to win. Bibi Sara needs to win this one. She needs to get this.
Yes, well, right now, Black's position looks probably okay, I would say. She's traded off a couple of pieces already, although knight b5 is going to d4. Still don't really see too much of a huge problem. Like maybe
Well, c6.
there's some initiative, right, for white.
Yeah, knight c6 is a clear threat. That easy to see, of course. Is something like e5 a possible thing?
Oh yeah, at some point.
At some point.
At some point, that move is definitely going to be looked at.
There is a pawn on e4 hanging. Okay, just protected. Good. In case.
So Bibi Sara has a bit more time. Black's position seems to be getting kind of better. I mean, than it was, but
yeah, but Black has some weak pawns. I mean, both a5 and c7 are not really.
Yeah, queen c5. Maybe. I like that square for the queen. Go for the end game. Rook c8, rook e7. Okay.
Oh, knight c6 would win a pawn. Rook on a8 protecting.
Yeah. Okay.
Knight c6 anyway. Now e5 would be a thing.
She's gonna try to trade off
f4 e5 something. Try.
Yeah, f4 is interesting. I guess she's gonna go knight b8 or knight c5. Yeah.
Okay.
Rook a6. Okay.
Mentioned the pawn on f4 is hanging. We have 25 seconds versus 20. 18. f5. She found a breakthrough, and it looks dangerous with the king over there. Wow. Rook h6. The knight has no square. So maybe knight take b4, pawn take e6.
Yeah.
Knight take a5. She wants to have a past protected pawn. I like this.
Yes, she has a nice pawn, but obviously, you know, Black has like improved their position quite a bit, and their king can go to e5 after c5 here. King e7. Okay, so she's just got to hold on. Nothing's
Yeah,
really
the king can never go on
happening.
d7.
Yeah, rook f6, rook e6, right? So she's just got to kind of sit h6.
Now she's trying to fix the pawn on the king side.
Yes, h5, I wouldn't trade. Okay.
I mean,
How
is
did she
e5
break
going
through?
to happen? Yeah. e5 is the latest try.
Yeah, she's still
But
better.
she wants to take on c5. That's why she didn't take on e5. She
She's
doesn't want to
putting her under
trade.
a lot of pressure. I mean, she has like
It's nearly
big
made, huh?
time advantage.
This is nearly
Yes.
made.
Yes, and the Black rook super passive. But I don't
Yeah.
know. C4 is a good move.
Why needs to win this? Why needs to
Kind
win
of
this?
activates. Wait. This is different already. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's not so bad for Black. Like, despite.
Well,
what
but
the
now
computer-
the
is
a pawn
there
might
checkmate. What, like, no, like e4, e3. I don't know. Like, rook c6, rook c2. Seems completely random. E2.
Oh, the rook is hanging on
she lost the
e6.
rook.
Oh my God, guys, this
Forgot
could be
about
the
the
turning
pin.
point of the match. Losing this game where we were so close to be winning. And now, attention, Attention. Yeah, this is over. Just
Yeah.
Just over. I mean, Vaishali is just really trying to burn time here. Burning all the time.
Yeah, I think it's fine strategy. That looks like checkmate.
Yes, and
Wow.
11 minutes remaining, so this means 3 games, not more. And Bibisara needs to win them all. We need to win them all. Well, losing a game where we are so close to win can really tilt you a bit. And in Bullet, I mean, they both are a great chess player, but the nerves are very important. They're both so young that psychological a loss like this can always be hard. Blundering a rook. So the theme of this match is, oh no, my rook. We have a London system again. And black tries another idea with the queen on b6. And now we just have, I would say, London position with not so much attack. With the control of the center, 2 knights in the center. And black is going for the minority attack this time with b5, a5, b4, or something like this. Who do you take in this game?
This is not as bad as the opening that she had a couple of games ago. So Bibisara is doing fine here, I think. Yeah, it's good that she's trying to stop b4. That's important. But it's something that's going to keep getting her attention, right? Like where is White's plan in this position? She has to be so careful about not allowing b4. So yeah, black seems pretty comfortable.
Yeah, h4, I like the idea. You want to try to yeah, maybe even go for h5, g4.
Yeah, she should play on the king side because she doesn't have any play on the queen side, right?
Yeah, maybe knight e5. Yeah, I like this. g4, g5. Yeah, something on the king side. And why is black not playing b4? What is the problem?
Yeah, because the knight was there, but maybe now b4 is an idea at this moment.
Is white to move?
Yeah.
g4?
All right, b4.
Now b4.
g5. It's going to be like a replay if they're...
Yeah, it's going to be a race. Who gets there first? Oh, h6, I love it. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe not.
94, and I don't know, black looks okay because black is getting rook c3 in. He could just go rook c3, right? Just ignore the attack on g7.
Wow.
And now the knight on d4 is hanging.
And the knight is captured, and now also the knight on e5 is hanging. She's taking on g7.
Yeah.
Now you know the rook might go to the attack.
Yeah, right now it's looking real good for Bibisara, and she has more time. She has an extra pawn, and
yeah, rook d3 only move.
Ooh, yeah.
Attention, f2 is hanging. Oh, the rook is hanging. It's protecting. Yeah. This seems like Bibisara is going to bring this home. The rook is active now. There is a mate threat on h2, and there is nothing to do. Queen f6. There was something to do.
She's catching up. She's catching up. She's 2 games away. She's going to be 2 games away, but I guess Vaishali again trying to like
burn time.
This out as long as possible.
Yeah, but now it's just you know.
Yeah, she's just
pushing. You should just push pawns, probably. Yeah,
but it's a good idea to keep it going, isn't it? I mean, it's
of course. I mean, the format is like this, and it makes sense to burn some time. We have 7 minutes remaining, but this is enough for 2 games for sure. It's surely enough for 2 games. So, you know, I mean, Vaishali needs to win a game if she wants to win. And it's a resignation. So, guys, we have the white pieces, 7 minutes left, even less than 7 minutes. Bibisara needs to win the next 2 games in order to strike back. Yeah, bullet is like this. If you don't get the vibe then you can lose many games.
Yeah, definitely she's turning it around. It's still not an easy thing to do to win these next two, but you know, that's why we're here, for that, to see if is she going to be able to do it or not. But she is within reach. And she had a good opening in this exact line at the very beginning of their bullet session, I think. So Vaishali, okay, this time she traded the light squared bishops, which is preferable. Yes, in the other game, she had her bishop on b7, kind of staring into like white's pawn chain.
Yeah. And now she plays again e5. Well, is d5 possible here? Trying to then have a pass and protect pawn? Oh, e4 is what?
Okay, interesting. I mean, she's still going to be better if black trades, right? On d4, probably like knight d4, bishop b2, maybe bishop b2 right away. She's got some advantage. I don't know how huge it is.
Well, the idea is that now white has more space, more control of the center, a better control of the center due to the pawn on e4. Ooh, knight e7 is a fork. Attention.
She's landing in a dangerous position again.
19 seconds. Queen c2. Voila.
Okay.
The queen are not going to get exchanged, but black really wants to. Now a4, trying to go for...
Was there bishop a3? Can you go back a second? Was there bishop a3 on that last move? Oh, no, the pawn was on a3.
The pawn was there.
Yeah, she's threatening
g6. The rook are getting exchanged.
She's definitely lost some part of her advantage, but it's still pretty big, right? It's still very...
Yeah, this knight cannot be moved.
And
yeah,
you know
the knight are not...
It doesn't really matter how precisely you play, because she hasn't built up a nice edge on the clock. She's got like still a better position. So, so I think that's more important.
And the bishop is hanging. Oh, this is winning a piece. The white is attacking both. Okay, now you just need to play, but yeah, to attack the knight. Now there is a check on b1. The king moves on f2. There is a check on d1.
On d8. Checkmate on d8 is a
That's the problem. Oh. After bishop takes c6, you can give a check on d1.
Yeah, this is rough.
Okay, but white still has...
But I think this is good for us, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, exciting. Ooh, the pawn is just rolling.
One move away
until the end of the board.
Right, so she has
Checkmate.
time to do it. Look at this, guys. Who expected this? Well, I mean, it was within the realm of the possible. So now
this is incredible.
And they might even have time for like 2 games, right?
Depends. If the game lasts more than 30 moves, then I mean, I don't think so. I think this is the last game.
The last one. So
every 30 moves is and 1 extra minute due to the 1 second increment.
I honestly think she will win, you know? I think she will win this game. I don't know what's going to happen later, but like, I think she's going to.
Well, then tie break.
So close. She's on a streak, you know?
Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, so black is taking some
she's looking a bit nervous, and like Bibi Sara looking like more confident, you know?
Yeah, she's on her beast mode, you know? Going for the comeback. Yeah, of course you are. It's very frustrating when you dominated the blitz section and then comes the bullet to the chaotic one and then suddenly you lose a bit the momentum and things are turning side.
Yeah.
Are the bishops going to be exchanged?
I mean, right now it looks pretty solid for black. Bibi Sara has a small advantage on the clock.
As always.
And Vaishali is kind of spending some.
Rook e1, what a strange move. Blocking the rook on f1. Rook c8, very natural.
Wait, so who's playing white in this game?
Vaishali.
Oh, Vaishali.
With the white.
You know, because I'm looking at her, she's on the right. I wasn't even sure. Okay, so Vaishali is white. Oh yes, Bibi Sara is black. Okay, got it. I see. So actually Bibi Sara had less time. Now she has now it's the same. All right, well, comes down
now Bibi Sara is less
second.
time.
I mean, this is just going to get completely random now because nothing is
It's
really
a coin
clear on the
flip.
board.
If Vaishali wins this game, she wins the match. There is just 1 minute, 20 seconds remaining. So we are really getting short on time. Rook on e3.
But black is better, right? Like, or at least like black has kind of a nicer looking position, maybe some tactics.
Yeah, black is definitely doing pressure on a3, c3.
Yeah. Okay, but white's holding it together.
I like the move g3 just in case, you know, creating some square for the king. Bring in the king. Now c3 is under attack, but the problem for black. Oh, no, f7 is falling.
Oh wow!
f7.
Wondered that.
f7. You might not have seen this move. This is the end, guys. A tragic, dramatic end.
Game over. Queen
it was such an exciting comeback, and then
she can even make a draw, right? She knows that she can just make a draw or something.
Well, there are 32 seconds left, so if she makes a draw, it's not over.
Oh wow! I hope she doesn't do it then. She should
because you have to play the last game then.
Right.
Yeah, she's not going for a draw. Now there are 22 seconds left. 3, 2. Bisara needs to play fast. This is clear.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh
wow. Oh, she must.
Allah, I mean, unfortunate way to end this. This was getting so exciting with the possibility of a huge, impressive comeback for Bisara that right now looks evidently disappointed. And wow.
Well, look, I mean, it got maximally close. It did basically finish with like 1 point difference. But by the way, is what was predicted by the chess stats, except the other way around, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So the chess stats, provided by chessgoals.com did say that it was going to be a very close match, but what it didn't predict was that it was actually going to be won by Vaishali. Look, I think it's a deserved victory by Vaishali. I do think she did play better in the first 2 portions, right? And we know that bullet chess is more random. But Bisara, she got on a streak in the bullet, and she got within an inch of tying this match. I really thought she could do it, but all of a sudden, White's rooks ganged up on that f7 pawn in the last game, and Vaishali had a position that she just really couldn't, not win.
Yeah, this was an incredible comeback by Bisara that ended in the tragic rook f7 way. And this means that Vaishali is advancing, and she will be facing the winner of the tomorrow match. That is Arika Dronavalli versus Corey. And tomorrow you will be also joining with me, right, Irina?
Yes, I'll be here, Alessia, and that's going to be a great match. My friend from India, Harika, and Daisy Corey from Peru, the strongest player from South America. Yeah, it's going to be a great match. Harika, got really close to winning the whole women's speed chess championship last year. And so I think, she's quite a good blitz player. We're going to see her in action tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining us for this inaugural round of the Women's Speed Chess Championship. We hope that you enjoyed it. And thank you, Alessia. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, at 2:30 p.m. Central European time. And see you tomorrow, guys. It will be exciting.